welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 166 of Geeks Chasing Squirrels across the multiverse. My name is Greg. I am still the Bat Daddy 52, and I've had something on the front of my mind for most of the day now since I watched Bad Batch, and I have to ask you guys this. Booby traps. Is it spelled B-O-O-B-Y or B-O-O-B-I-E? Because I had the captions on, and it spelled it B-O-O-B-Y, and it feels like that's just a missed joke right there. Wouldn't it be funny if it was spelled B-O-O-B-I-E? A third grade laughter right there. So many third graders would be so much happier if it was spelled that way. I just don't understand it. At least in my mind, that's the way it's spelled. I don't know what's going on. Ross,
I feel like this is a long way of you saying that you've had boobies on the front of your mind all day.
Well,
I mean, we just went around the horn. I'm pretty sure that's what you
Such
just
a
said.
conundrum. I mean,
yes and no. I mean, I don't know. But
or booby,
yeah,
I-E, or Y.
it just seemed weird when I saw it. I don't know. I guess I've never seen booby trap spelled out. And when I saw it, I was like, that's weird. I always pictured it as B-O-O-B-I-E. Booby.
I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
Nope. It's always with Y.
Yeah.
It's the law of plural and singular words.
Sarah, what's up?
Hi, guys.
We missed you. Yeah.
Yes, I was in the land of Atlantic City, gambling, work, that kind of thing. So, you know. I behaved myself, though. It was all good. It was all good.
That's what's up. I mean,
like I said, it was a work-related thing, so it's all good. Atlantic City was fun. Not on my, list of places to return to, but like I said, it was fun. I can say I've been there. I can check it off my list.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's great to have you back. It's always like, what's the saying? Like, behind or beside every man, there's a woman, strings, puppeteer, or something. It's all there. Just put it together. You know what I'm saying? So it's great to have you back because,
because we were lawless last week. We were just lawless.
Right.
Oh
We were just looking at each other, sitting around staring at each other. We didn't know what happened. So, what are we doing? Let's go with some news. We'll start with some news. We always do. So we're back this week. Ross, we don't have a lot. Is there anything you want to talk about? You're the news guy, my anchor man.
I want to talk about my Doom Patrol getting canceled. I hate it.
Not just Doom Patrol.
Oh, I know, and Titans.
Yeah.
Titan. My Doom Patrol, your guys' is Titans. I don't know which one you want to own. I'm going to own Doom Patrol because, I like me some Cliff. The man is a wordsmith. I love it. I told you when they were separating the seasons and they were splitting it up that there was just something happening. And, now they're saying they planned for it all along, which I believe. I do believe if they were going to cancel it, then they definitely had a plan going on for it. But what the hell, man? Like,
my only question is, where did you see the show going? Because if they cancel it after this season, that's 4 seasons, right?
Yes, for each.
Okay. Typically,
well, they had the one season that was cut short because of COVID, so that kind of just kind of derailed that a little bit.
But typically, don't most of these shows around the 5th season start to kind of decline anyway? Generally, they kind of start to decline. Usually, I mean, not all shows, but generally, this type of genre show, Arrow kind of did around that time. It lifted back up a little bit, and give your judgment on how it ended. But
the upside is they're not on the CW,
right?
Yeah.
Talk about my dog's chewing something up. Hang on 1 second. Go ahead. Talk about it.
The simple fact that they're on HBO, gives them that flexibility. You couldn't have Doom Patrol. I mean, I'm not even sure you could really have Titans on CW. I think that, not that it was extremely bloody.
You could probably clean that up a little bit. You could
clean it up.
Yeah, but Doom Patrol, no, I think that would lose 100% of the heart of it, shall we say?
Yeah, I mean, Jane and Cliff alone, and then you add in, Rita and all of her psychological stuff that she's going through, and which is totally different than Jane's, but still psychological issues. And that stuff is actually, I mean, nowadays all that crap gets disclaimers in front of the episode. So It's interesting to think of what it would be like to be on the CW verse. But I think the part that really bothers me is that we knew this was actually coming, and that even though that I'm going to say it and not mean it exactly, DC is in a state of disarray. It is being disassembled, but it's being disassembled methodically. I just want to see. I would love to see the playbook. I want to see the instructions, what they have going on, where they plan on going with it, and what's going to happen next. Because all you see now is just the dismantling of things. So
Well, it's funny you say that though. You are right. I do see that, but then we still see things like Shazam, which is connected to this universe. Aquaman 2 connected to this universe.
Flash.
The Flash connected to this universe, like which is all still stuff planned to come out. So I just wonder if you're going to be, it almost seems like they're trying to be kind of adjacent to this universe, to the Snyderverse, rather than away from it. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? Which can work, I suppose, if you blend it well. But I just don't know what they're going to do. I do want to say one thing that bothers me about the you were talking about, you're bothered about Doom Patrol, and I'm bothered about Doom Patrol too. It bothers me when people say that Brendan Fraser has been gone and is making resurgence now. And I guess if you're not a fan comic book fan or watching the show, you wouldn't know. But I've been watching for the last 3 years. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to take away from his recent success with The Whale and all that stuff. I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's amazing. I don't want to take away from that, but it's not like he's been off the map.
Yeah, like on a rock somewhere.
He's not Macaulay Culkin, you know.
But he's hitting a peak, and I think that here's the thing: is that you normally don't see stars making their slow comeback. RDJ is a pretty good example. The guy went on for doing nothing forever, and after getting in all that trouble and being branded, a drug abuser and everything else, and then took that gambling chance with Marvel. Each of them gambled, and he said, I think he only got paid like $200,000 for that role, but he got all the points to go with it for whatever it made in the box office. Like that was his gamble, and he turned it around. Brendan Fraser has been doing it in a totally different way because a large part of his things that he's had to overcome have been, physical, and then not only you could call it mental also with all the anguish and stuff that he's been going through.
Well, the psychological and emotional yeah. Sometimes that takes more of a toll than the physical.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you've recently met him, correct, Sarah?
Last year.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was. So I'm like, it was just right place, right time.
But like I said, it's just so funny, and I always think about it because the people I hear say it, it's usually radio heads, and if I hear somebody say it, and talking at their work or whatever, I'm like, okay, they wouldn't watch Doom Patrol, so they wouldn't know that he actually has been doing some things and fantastic things. He's great in that role. I love him as Cliff Steele, like amazing, perfect casting, love it. He nails it. But yeah, it's sad that Doom Patrol is not going to be with us anymore. And Sarah, I think I might have cut you off before I started that little segue before, or that little.
No, that's fine. I was just saying it's like it was like really cool to meet him, and I'm glad I did at that time because now, considering the fact that, I mean, he's a, prime commodity once again. So I mean, it's
major news.
I wonder what his next role will be. There's going to be a lot of castings for Marvel and DC in the future, which he has ties with at least DC. I wonder what his next role is going to be. Do you think he's going to go in the superhero genre, or he's going to go more dramatic type stuff after this Whale success?
Well, I mean, if you look at just IMDb, just kind of looking at some of the projects he's done over the past few years. I mean, it's like some smaller. After you see him, meet him first in Titans, there's like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 films, and then of course that TV show Professionals, which I only saw like one episode, and I'm like, what is this? Because I think that had Tom Welling in it as well, and I'm just like, whoa! I remember telling you guys about that. I was like, what is this? I need to like look in it. I forgot what that was on, but I was just like, whoa. So I mean, he's been doing things. It's just the fact that this particular role for the Whale, that's really just got him a lot of more just like critical acclaim, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still yet to see it, but I don't think it's available to stream anywhere.
Well, Brian went and saw it in the theater, and he said it was something else. I mean, it was emotional roller coaster. I mean, I think it's one of those films that I think I'll wait to watch when it does stream, like so I can watch on the couch, because movies like that kind of make me uncomfortable in theaters. It's just
I don't want to cry in public.
Oh, dude, that's beyond me.
Like I don't want to cry in public. That's all there is to it. So
I'll break down in a heartbeat. It's not beyond me.
Just go see it in 4DX and be like, the seat punched me in the face. It's fine. Right. They're tears of pain.
Yeah, but it's like I said, over the past 3, 4 seasons for Doom Patrol, we're used to them. We're like, yeah, that's Cliff, that's Robot Man, that's that. So it's really cool to see him. That's why it was kind of hard for me with him in that role as Robot Man. I'm like, what? It kind of took a minute for me to I'm like, This is Rick O'Connell. What is he saying? He doesn't act
Oh,
like
yeah.
this.
You know, it's funny. I think that we've all shown our colors here, that we've been talking about this for almost 10 minutes now, and we haven't even talked about Titans also being canceled.
Dude, the writing's
told
on
you.
the wall for that. I
Look,
mean, we're
as
just
soon as they got rid of Hawk and Dove, Titans went downhill.
Yeah.
I love the show. I really do. I love the characters. I love everybody they've casted for every role. I love the costumes. They're phenomenal. Every one of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Every single character's costume, maybe with the exception of Scarecrow's last season, are phenomenal. Absolutely love them. But the story just kind of went downhill. The entire
finales.
yeah, finales have been bad. They should have made Deathstroke like the big bad in the background, not this Trigon mystical stuff. All the stuff they're doing, Brother Blood. I don't know where they're going within the future, but wherever they go, it's going to be the end.
Yeah, they better wrap it up.
The only good thing about this, because while this show does have its faults, I still want to see it because, like I said, it's the fight scenes are great, the costumes are amazing, and I like the actors. The only kind of silver lining of this is now they're taking all these characters off the small screen and they're restructuring the DC. Am I finally going to get a good live action Robin or Nightwing? Are we going to see a Red Hood? You know, like, what are we going to see? Are we going to see why can't I think of any other DC Titans names? Beast Boy. Any of these characters. Like, are we going to see these on the big screen? Because that would be a plus if that's the case. Where they're canceling it. Same with Doom Patrol. Yeah. Imagine a Doom Patrol movie.
You take Dick Grayson into account. What I liked about Titans and what I liked about his role, besides actually seeing a version of Robin kick ass and then turn him into, what's his name? Nightwing. You get the detective side of it. Like, it's not all it's not all perfect, but like it's kind of well done enough for you to really appreciate the detective side of it. You don't get a whole lot of Bruce Wayne detective stuff. I mean, let's be honest. Where do you think you probably got the most Bruce Wayne detective stuff, period?
Live action?
Dark Knight trilogy?
Yeah, probably the Dark Knight trilogy. And it wasn't a ton of real detective stuff. A little bit in the Batman movie, I guess. In the new Batman movie.
Batman.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. We don't get a whole lot of that.
And so it would be nice to see that. Especially, it would be nice to see Bruce teaching Dick how to be the detective, how to grow up and, not just baby Robin, but, growing into adult Robin and actually turn that into something, whether or not you get Batman or not, because you don't need to focus on that story. Titans proved that you don't need to. Titans had a lot of work that they needed to do in order to get you to focus on what you should have been focusing on and not just like all the other nonsense in the background. You start mixing too many of those stories together right off the bat because, when you have all of those characters, it's tough to tell one cohesive story. And I definitely feel like this last season has been very CW-fied, but Titans has always felt more CW than Doom Patrol ever has. And what I love about Doom Patrol is that it doesn't have that vibe. They're just out there just being weird, like I said before countless times.
Well, I think the difference is with Doom Patrol and Titans is like Titans is on an adult level as far as like action and maybe blood, whereas Doom Patrol is on more of an adult level as far as language and nudity. I mean, beyond that, they're both kind of a little more on the adult side as far as shows go. But I would probably show my kids Titans before I show my kids Doom Patrol.
Oh yeah,
just based on the type of adult stuff that's in there. So, look, man, I once again I don't want Titans to go because I'm always excited when Titans comes out, but I'm always disappointed when Titans leaves. So it's like every year, it's excitement when it comes out, disappointment when it leaves, and I'm just like, why do I set myself up for this? I hate that we're not. If we're gonna have, this does mean having a Nightwing on big screen, that it's not going to be the actor who plays him in Titans, because I think that guy fucking nailed it. Like, that is Dick Grayson for me right there. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's
be hopeful.
You could do the Titans like you were saying, as far as singular movies, and build them up to a team like an Avengers type thing. Like, you don't have to do Justice League. You could do that. They've already got Suicide Squad, but we don't know what's happening with Squad moving forward. I doubt that we're going to see the same Suicide Squad, so I don't know. It's going to be crazy. But, y'all got anything else you want to say about Doom Patrol and Titans?
Nope.
Okay. What was the
I'm
other
just looking
news?
forward to what they have left in the tank. That's I'm just kind of curious to see how they're going to wrap it up. So,
I hope it's a strong
have to look forward
finish.
to.
I hope it is.
Just no cliffhangers. No cliffhangers.
It's not supposed to be. They're supposed to have like the knowledge of knowing that this was supposed to be like a
tied
wrap
up
up
with
season.
a nice, neat little bow, and just to have at it. So,
yeah, we'll see what happens.
HBO has the. You guys don't watch the Harley Quinn anime show, but it's going to get like a Valentine's Day special going into its 3rd season.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about Last of Us later, but HBO is giving everyone the chance to watch The Last of Us without a subscription. So,
I guarantee it. Of course. Yeah. The Last of Us has broken records as far as from the first week to the second week, as far as viewing goes, is the most like watched show from the first week to the second week, as far as word of mouth, people telling them to watch it. This show is going to explode, and it should. We're going to talk about it, but it's absolutely amazing.
I think it is still the second most viewed premiere since at least I think 2010 is what they said.
Oh yeah,
but
it kind of surprises me that it beat out House of the Dragon. To be truly honest, I would think, but I'm sure that if you probably look at the numbers, House of the Dragon's probably number 2 or right up there with it. So
it's also a different crowd, and given the rating factor where you have shows like people expect like nudity and stuff like that with Game of Thrones. I don't know how much of that we're supposed to be getting. I mean, the second episode definitely opened up with something, but I don't know if a lot of people went into that knowing that there's a whole entire different gaming world out there. So like, there's a lot of people that wanted to watch this just because of it being in the game sphere.
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like this show, and it's funny, we started talking about The Last of Us. We're not getting into The Last of Us. We're just actually, I'll save it. Let me write that down.
Let's do that.
That way. Yeah.
Pin.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about
just cage that squirrel for a minute.
That's right. That was a bad squirrel. I'm glad I shot that one down. Yeah. So, all right.
MCU news. Thunderbolts is making some noise finally. Apparently the Covenant of Chaos show has a major leak, so be careful if you go reading around the internet and you don't want to know what it's going to be about. Most of these things you can figure out what the plot's going to be about just by piecing it together in your brain. And then apparently Disney made another retroactive change to the Ms. Marvel finale, where you guys remember in Endgame where the Statue of Liberty was bronze again? Or copper?
Not specifically, no.
Well, apparently it was, and like there's a whole problem because of the very end of Ms. Marvel, like it was green again. It wasn't supposed to be, but either way, not a whole lot of MCU stuff other than what's going to be coming out to the network.
Did people complain about that?
I don't know if they did, or I mean, you know how people are.
I know how people are, and that's what I'm asking. Are people still like that? Seriously?
Well,
is that an issue in this day and age that we are seriously upset about? The color of the Statue of Liberty in a movie.
Dude,
I read it multiple
M&Ms
times
right now, so don't assume.
Look,
assume.
No, hold on. Did you just say something about M&Ms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole high heel thing.
Yeah, that's the most. I'm sorry, but that is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life.
I agree.
And I hear a lot of dumb
agree.
shit.
Yeah,
that's stupid. That's just stupid.
Yep.
But anyways, so that's my point is, it's like, don't assume that somebody wouldn't think that.
Yep. The bigger thing, I guess, is the Nielsen ratings came out for last year's streaming. So you actually have an idea of what's been making the number one hits. Stranger Things basically ruled everything.
Okay.
It's like the number one on top of every list. Yeah, that's a you problem. I don't know how to keep telling you.
There's always so much stuff to watch, though. It's crazy.
This is overall. Let's see. You had Wednesday crept in at number 12 for the year.
Still haven't watched that.
Yes,
my daughters love it. They keep telling me to watch it. So like, that might be another one.
And it's already got a second season coming out.
Where's Velma at?
Or going to film. Huh?
Where's Velma at? Because every time I turn on HBO Max, Velma's come. It's like, watch this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to eventually.
Actually, that would be a 23 show because it just came out. Okay. Cobra Kai, number 14.
14.
Which
Wow.
did you
Okay.
find?
No,
Did
this will be
everyone
the
watch
last one.
the season 6 trailer?
I'm holding off. I'm holding off because I know it's the
Maybe.
last. I'm holding off.
The trailer doesn't give a whole lot away. It's just one of those like teaser things. Like here's the date. It's going to be the last season, and so on and so forth. But yeah,
I watch a lot of stuff. I can't. If I don't write it down, I don't remember it. So
streaming programs wise, it was Stranger Things, Ozark, Wednesday, Cobra Kai. The Boys hit number 11. Umbrella Academy is still at 13. Like,
cool.
for the year. So I mean, like, if that doesn't say a whole lot.
And there's their
Last
final
Kingdom,
season coming up, right?
the
Umbrella
next one
Academy?
is, yeah.
Yep.
Last Kingdom, which I still haven't finished the last season, but I watched the rest of it. And then Rings of Power crept in at 15.
What?
So, yeah.
Well,
Can't agree with everything, but whatever, right?
true. People are entitled to like what they like. Yeah. And I'm not saying it was a terrible show. I just don't know. I'd really have to go back and look at the list of shows that came out last
It wouldn't
year.
be in
I
the
don't know if
top
that'd
15.
be. I don't know if it'd be in the top 15. Yeah. But
Well, this is all
to each his own.
views. I mean, this is like
all views. Okay.
Minutes
Well,
viewed.
Kind of
Nielsen
runs
ratings,
in line with what people like. You know.
Yeah. And so streaming for the year for just like the minutes viewed. For movies, it was Encanto, Turning Red, Sing 2, Moana, of course, all the kids stuff right off the bat. You had the Adam Project at number 5, which
That was a good
I
one.
didn't know it was actually going to make the list. I'm kind of amazed it made the list.
This is this. No, I guess because Encanto and all those weren't made just for streaming.
No.
Okay.
Some of them only came out on the network simply because of like their whole COVID protocol of
Timing,
them releasing things
okay.
and that kind of stuff. They just kept with it. There was one Marvel movie on there. Anyone want to guess what Marvel movie it was that was streamed the most in 2022 on Disney Plus?
The Marvel movie streamed the most in 2022 on Disney Plus was Spider-Man.
Sarah?
Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's what it should be. Yeah.
Eternals.
Really?
Well, okay.
Well, probably because a lot of people didn't see it in the theater, I would imagine.
Yep, I would have to assume
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Good point.
Now, I mean, I did see it in the theater, so I did because it was a Marvel movie, and I figure out all Marvel movies. I feel like you have to see in the theater come hell or high water. But yeah, I mean that would make sense.
Well, I can't agree with that because I haven't seen all Marvel movies in theaters. I've seen a lot of them, but
well, I haven't seen all of them. I'm just saying it's just for the 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna try to see all Marvel movies in the theater because I feel like those are movies that you need to see on the big screen.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
What else?
Beyond that, that's about it for the news.
Okay.
Unless you guys watched anything out of the normal this week.
Now, do y'all want to talk about that? What have we been watching beyond what we're covering? What have y'all been watching? Because I know that I'll start. Ashley started watching New Amsterdam or Amsterdam. She started without me, so I've got to catch up on it. She says it's really good. So, and that we were led to that because of Blacklist, because the guy who plays in the first 3 seasons of Blacklist is the main character for that, and that's why he left Blacklist. Blah, blah, blah. So it's so funny that Ashley studied up on that. Like, so like I was like, "How do you know that?" She's like, "Oh, I looked it up." And I was like, "Why would I don't know?" She normally wouldn't look things like that up, but all right. So I got to start watching that. And what else? There was something else that I started watching. So of course, I'm just about to finish up Blacklist. Last season of that coming up. There's something else I watched. There's got to be something else I watched. Y'all tell me what you've watched, and I'll think about it.
I've actually been keeping up with the National Treasure.
Wow.
Haven't got a chance to check that out yet.
I
think I'm
actually just
only
watched
good.
the last 2
One
episodes.
behind?
Yeah,
Pretty
I
good?
actually watched the last 2 episodes, and it could 100% work on CW, 100%. But I mean, I still like it. I like it because it still kind of keeps the fun from the actual film. Say the National Treasure of the films, like as the way they kind of look at how you're figuring out these puzzles and stuff. So I mean, but some of the writing, I'm like, really? But then again, you got to think about your audience. I'm like, okay, they're trying to cater to an audience that's a lot younger than me.
Right.
But I mean, it's still cute. It's still fun to watch. I mean, they had one episode that was based in Graceland, so I was like, hey, anything with Elvis, I mean, that'd be fantastic. So, but I think that's about it. I think I've pretty much kind of, other than the ones that we were talking about.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
racking my brain right now, and I cannot think of anything that I've watched beyond the stuff that we're covering. To be truly honest with you,
Other than my old lady show, I mean, I can still keep up with that, but that's just
what, the 80 for Brady? You heard
no,
about that movie?
no. We're
80
talking
for
about
Brady.
TV shows.
We should
We're
cover
talking about
that.
Blue Bloods. This
Yeah.
is Blue Bloods. I love that show. You can call me
Mm.
80, 90. I don't give a shit. I love that show.
I watched the Willow behind the scenes thing.
Why?
I don't know why. Glutton for punishment. I'm not sure. Here's the thing. Like, sometimes I can like put something on. I'm like, especially come nighttime, you're dead tired. I'm like, I don't know if I can pay attention to anything right now. Like, I didn't even watch The Last of Us on Sunday. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, each day, like, oh, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna do it. And then like I put TV on, and like it just sits there. I don't even go to like an app. I just sit there for a second, and I'm sitting there on my phone. And I'm like, oh, dude, like I'm extremely tired. So I actually put that on, and it was one of those things that, again, they looked like they had a lot of fun making it, but it just didn't all translate very well to the actual screen for me, like story-wise.
So you didn't have any epiphanies or put anything together that behind the scenes made sense or any of that kind of stuff?
They had... What was funny was that they had a real fun time shooting the behind the scenes stuff. Like they had little spin-offs on everything. Like Willow was supposed to be a control freak. The guy that played Borman, like apparently every single time he tried to go and sit down on a chair on set, he would fall over purposely, and it happened from start to finish of filming. And I'm like, at some point, like you gotta stop, right? And they probably had
not funny anymore.
Yeah. They probably had like 30 solid shots of him doing that. And I'm like, is it a thing? Like how? I'm so confused. But, Christian Slater and Warwick Davis apparently were like having like this fake feud on set. There's so many things that they were doing behind the scenes. Like I said, they were having a lot of fun. But man.
But here's the thing. When you want to watch behind the scenes stuff and bloopers, it's got to be natural. You can't plan on things to screw up or like plan arguments.
Well,
plan
a lot
to
of
fall
it
off
can
the
be
chair
just
and make it funny,
Well, it's meant to be a
like
thing
a
for the
of,
behind
like,
the scenes. The spoof,
right.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
But the comedy of all that stuff is the fact that it's so naturally happening. It's so like when you try to force it is when it starts to not become funny. Like you said, the chair thing might have been funny 1, maybe 2. Okay, possibly at the end of the season, maybe give me a third to hey, I remember that. But 30 times, it's like you're really reaching. And I feel like that was kind of the way it was in the show. Like I liked Borman in the show, but like towards the end of the season, like I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of these kind of cheesy one-liners. I get it, you're the cool guy of the group. I totally understand. I get that, and I agree. You're probably of everybody here the coolest guy, the guy to want to drink a beer with. But just chill out, man. Time to cool out with that. So, but we've discussed that. That's just the character.
Thank goodness we don't have it behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what our behind. Ooh, I could make a behind the scenes cut for us.
B-roll.
Yes, I've got plenty of B-roll over the years. I actually have a file called B-roll, so I have plenty of B-roll.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, no other new. Yeah, I've got a lot. I've got to go back and find your Nathan calls. Nathan. I gotta go back and call those. You have the 2. You have the Nathan and Nathan. All right, let's do some trailers.
Trailers then, man.
So we're not going to play them this week because we got shut down last week for playing the trailers.
That's what I heard.
Told you we were lost.
We don't make money doing this, so whatever.
You guys by yourself for just like one show, and it just goes all to hell.
Exactly. You would have said you probably shouldn't do that. You're right. That's right. So we're not going to do
probably
that.
Not. I'd probably be like, yeah, let's roll. Let's do it.
Well, what's funny is we've done it before plenty of times and never been shut down. I guess they're cracking down on stuff now. I don't know. Who knows? But
it's like Netflix. Netflix is finally cracking down on the password sharing.
I've been calling it. Like, they've been talking about it for months.
It's
going to happen.
How are they going to tell? How are they going to be able to tell?
I guess they're going to track IPs. I don't know.
what she said.
Whatever. I buy my own anyway, so I ain't worried about it. Don't affect me. All
I
right,
think
trailers.
It's what it is.
Sarah, you weren't here. Did you watch the Invincible 2 trailer? The little quip?
No.
All right, because it wasn't really a trailer.
If that is that, I'm definitely going to have to watch that with my son because he is like all about that. Yes. Mom of the year here. But he's been asking me for the longest time. He's like, when's the second one coming out? When's the second one coming out? I'm like, I don't know, son. I just do remember the first damn season because it feels like it's been forever and an age when I saw it.
And that's what the trailer addresses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It comes out fall of this year.
What are those he-she videos where they're in the cafes? It's kind of like one of those. You know, a little bit of comedy between two guys at a cafe talking about what everybody's thinking but not saying. So, oh well, I mean, not to that extent, but like kind of the what the hell's been going on? Why is it taking so long for this to come out? Type deal. So
yeah, I might have to table that one because I'll get back with you guys next week on that one. How about
that? The next one was what? Well, Ant-Man final trailer wasn't really all that much different, but you got tickets, so you did exactly what you needed to do out of it. Because now we all have tickets.
Dude, I had tickets even before. I think I even saw that other trailer because the last movie I saw was I had to go support my second husband, Gerard Butler, for his new film Plane. Wait,
and then get on a plane.
Well, put it this way: it was not an international flight and it was not over water, so I felt 100% safe. But no, we saw the trailer again for Quantum Mania, so it was. I mean, it's really ramping up. It's like I don't want to see anything else with it. I don't want to see anything else. I'm good. So yeah, I'm just ready for the film to just come out and let's just watch it because it's one of those things where I've seen enough. So let's just keep a little bit behind the curtain.
I'm trying to think. The last movie that I saw in theaters that was not like comic book, sci-fi genre related, I think it was 7 Pounds, the Will Smith movie. Do you remember that? That was like 10 years ago.
Wow.
I think that was the last like fantasy comic book genre related movie that I've seen in theaters. I can't think of anything else. That was a long time ago. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with me?
Shit.
Oh my goodness. Ugh. I don't know.
I will say though, I think that soundtrack music is to die for. What they're doing with soundtrack music these days is phenomenal. That Elton John click, oh man, I love it. Especially because it does they do so good with like the beat for beat scenes and like they're actually showing you the trailer. So good.
Well, bad news. Talking about, I'm not going to see it in 4DX because our 4DX theater is shutting down.
Oh no!
What? Why?
Yeah, I think it's an AMC theater, so they're shutting down like a few theaters over the country, and unfortunately, the one in Apex got axed.
They're shutting down in Greensboro.
Let's buy it.
Well,
let's reopen it.
I kind of should have known that because the last couple of times that we went, that was like maybe let's see, like 4 of us, and then maybe
just a few other people,
yeah,
a few movie employees.
You see all these stuff moving around, and you're just like, Brian and I kind of looked at each other like, I don't think this is going to last too long.
Huh? That is crazy. I would think something like that would be really.
Now I will take the theater where, because that other theater in Cary, the one I told you guys about, it's got the screen that tilts 15 degrees. So when you're like reclined back, the screen actually tilts.
Oh, nice.
That's where we saw Avatar 2 3D. Now I like that. I
want to go see ScreenX. Like I want the 270 degree.
Yes, I want that too.
But there's not one like anywhere in the
area. That
area.
might be too much. I mean, I'm kind of like a focus on the center type thing. So,
Ross, what was that IMAX theater we went to in Raleigh to go see the Star Wars movie?
That was at the Science Center, I think.
The Science Center, yeah. But it was IMAX.
That's one over there by Marbles, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with Raleigh. Thing?
Ross picked me up on the
Probably.
road. Like, so that's all I know. He
You're
picked
just
me up
like,
when we
I'm
went there.
going
Yeah, I
to
just
the
rode.
car.
So,
Kid showed some leg. What are you supposed to do?
all right.
Pick him up in your truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
candy.
Mandalorian season 3. It's on the cusp. Did you see the new trailer?
Yeah. We need
Yeah, we saw the
thoughts.
one that was yeah, because wasn't that the same? Because they haven't had one since shit. What did it come after? What when the games?
Halftime of the game. You hadn't been on since then. That was last Monday or last Sunday.
Yeah,
Last Monday, I think.
yeah. Because I was texting you guys. I was like, y'all see this shit?
Yeah.
Mhm. And
What'd
then
you
you
think?
sent
Are
the
you
Power
excited?
Rangers one. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Well, are you excited? Actually, more importantly, let's talk about the Mando thing real quick. Like, did I'm assuming y'all have seen, because if I've seen it, I'm sure y'all have seen it. These pictures of Sebastian, whatever, as Luke Skywalker.
I have not seen
You
that.
have not seen them?
They've been out since
No.
like before. They were talking about flashbacks with before the prequel or sequel trilogy even came out.
Right, but before it was
Well, you talking about like way
concept
back
art.
when? Because I mean, there was a lot of like
Mhm.
who could be what and that kind of thing.
But before it was concept art, right? Now there's
I mean-
actual pictures.
Well, dude, we live in the age of like AI and like all this wonderful machine learning crap. You know, I mean, with all the pictures that I've seen of what's her name, Millie Bobby Brown as Leia. I mean, like, I'm not sure that she's ever really put on any sort of like Star Wars Leia costume, but there's plenty of shots out there with her in it. So,
Gotta look that up.
yeah, I mean, I don't know where you're really going with it other than if you're thinking that they're actually going to do something with it. But if you are, then I'm going to tell you that's been, I don't want to say a misnomer, but I mean, something people have been talking about for a good number of years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but being in the next season of Mando is more or less what I'm talking about from the stuff I've seen.
I don't know if you can go back at this point, though, dude. They've already done. They hired the guy who fixed their bad CGI face editing stuff of Luke in was it the end of when did Luke pick up Grogu the first time? Was that the end of season 1?
End of
That was the
season.
end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then or
That was the end of season 2.
Into season 2, and then in the book of Boba
yeah.
Fett, that guy
Right.
came in and helped redo all of the face work for Luke. The guy they picked up off YouTube or they hired off YouTube.
See, here's the thing though. I don't think it'll be a problem, to be truly honest with you. Like, let me ask you, if just say it's true, and you get Sebastian Stan as young Luke Skywalker, which looks great, and he does a good job. Is it going to ruin it? Are you going to be like, oh, it's ruined? Well, I can't deal with this.
No,
because you've seen.
I'm not
Luke
a fatalist like all the other
I
people.
get.
who
I know
absolutely
you. I
hate
know
the
you
sequel
won't. But put
trilogies.
yourself in the mind of like what a general audience would think. I don't think that people it'll take them out of it. I mean, you've seen characters be replaced, and as long as the character Mark Ruffalo,
As long as it's close
Don
enough.
Cheadle,
As long as
like you've seen characters
yeah.
be replaced and they
Yeah.
do a good job. Yeah, and as long as they do a good job, it's not a big deal. As long as you haven't established the character, like you're not going to replace Robert Downey Jr. and try to put somebody in as Tony Stark and be like, "This is Tony Stark." It's not going to work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody that you've introduced in just a couple of scenes, I feel like it wouldn't be a big deal if it's done well, which I think it could be.
I just wonder what the reason would need to be, because when I watch Mandalorian, I want to see Mandalorian. It's the same problem that people had with the Mandalorian in the Book of Boba Fett, where they had only those Mandalorian focused episodes. I didn't even need that much Luke. Look, don't get me wrong. It was cool seeing that little bit. Him, getting the temple built by the droids and all that little bit, but it wasn't necessary. I mean, they've shown that they can make so many other well thought out stories that I don't need that.
All right.
Because if you keep going to the same well, eventually you're going to run into people just being kind of tone deaf by it. I don't want to be like that. I want to see what else they have. I loved Endor. Skeleton Crew apparently just wrapped filming, even though it's supposed to be a little bit more kid centric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board with giving it a shot. I want to see what it's about.
Well, you're just a big kid anyway, so
I am.
But here's the thing:
in the same token, I'm talking about Skeleton Crew. I mean, think about what Prodigy did for Star Trek. I mean, that was more of a kid show, and it was still good. I mean, it
Yep.
was, it still told the story. It still, had that feel to it. So, just because it's catering to a younger audience doesn't really, I don't think it takes anything away from it.
Right. Well, and going back real quick to what you said about the you don't need this, you want, like, you can get away from the Skywalker, and they can, and they've done that. They've shown they can do that really well. However, you can drop it in there. Like, as long as Luke Skywalker is not the focus of the show, you can have
Yeah.
him in there. Like just a little bit here, a little bit there, background story. This is what's going on with him while this is happening.
Well, it's a
I'm
little
cool with that.
interweaving too.
Just don't take an episode of Mandalorian and make it and not have Mandalorian in it at all and be all about Luke Skywalker. Don't do that. Don't Boba Fett it. But you can still have him in there. I think there's a very fine line you can walk. But it's just a matter if they're going to do that or not. But I trust in. I don't want to say I trust in Disney. I trust in Filoni.
Filoni and Favreau.
Yeah, I trust in those two guys.
Okay. Like I said, Power Rangers was the one that you sent, and you didn't get a chance to talk about it. So, how you feeling about the Power Rangers? What do they call it? The 30th anniversary.
Don't even say that. I cannot. 30 years. I can't accept that. I just can't accept that.
It's tough.
I mean, it's like I can still remember watching episodes of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I think the only other one that I really paid mind to, I think, was like the space one, because when I was going through that, and and then I was kind of looking at these characters, because then when you really dive into it, with 30 years, there's some character, actors and actresses we don't have with us anymore. Not just recently, but there were some I didn't realize that. It's like Trini. I didn't realize what happened to her in real life. Right. And it's like, oh my God, that's just some things I just can't accept. I just can't accept.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything ages, so I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch this, because I mean, I'm just curious to see how it's. I don't know. It's just Power Rangers. That's just something that's just kind of ingrained in my memory. It's crazy.
We should start doing some retrospectives on shows like that. Just do little side shows, retrospectives. Like, all get together, watch 3 episodes of Power Rangers as adults.
I want to watch that Power Rangers movie.
See how we feel.
Because that was
the first one that hit theaters.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great movie. That's an awesome movie. I've watched that with my kids.
Well, see, and that's what's so crazy too, because when they had like the the one that came out a few years ago, like kind of like the revamp of it or whatever.
I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But it was just so crazy, because I took my son to watch it, and I'm going through this, and I'm watching, and he's seeing it. I mean, he knew a little bit about the originals, but I mean, it wasn't ingrained. I mean, this is my same son too. When he, discovered the Ninja Turtles, I had to argue with him who was who and that. And he's like, "No, Mom, you don't know." I said, "Look, boy, I grew up with it. I know."
Right.
It's like, yep. I know. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I've always just see it now as just nostalgic. So I'm really interested to see 30 years later, if as going forward, as, still in this world of, it's going to be crazy. That's all I can say. I mean, I just don't even know. I don't even know how to articulate it. It's just nuts.
That would be a show that would be really fun to see remade right now with today's age and technology, and I guarantee it get funded more than it was before. It'd be nice to see what they could do with that.
Now, what would the Zords look like?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what the Zord would look like. We just got to get to that show first, so just hold on before we get there. I don't know. I wonder when he tells such short stories like that. They kept reusing some of that footage over and over and over for every single show. I don't know what you would do with that now, because I mean, we've already talked about countless times how like VFX artists and stuff like that are completely burnt out on like timelines and everything else with all of the stuff that's out right now, because so many people rely heavily on VFX stuff. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if you could really pull off something with a semi-decent budget and it, I don't know, like not seem like it's screwing with your eyeballs. I mean, Mandalorian's proven it. I guess you got something.
I say you absolutely could. All you could do is go back and watch that YouTube trailer. Who was the guy that made the adult Power Rangers short movie? It was like
Yeah,
7 minutes long. I can't remember the James Vanderbeek. Is that why do I want to say James Vanderbeek? Is that who it was?
Yeah, James Vanderbeek played Jason.
Okay, cool. I was right about that then. Yeah. Go if you haven't checked that out, go back and watch that YouTube short video, that little movie. You could do that as Power Rangers. That had to have been low budget.
It was under something.
I have no idea, but it's absolutely amazing. If they went that route with Power Rangers, I'd fucking love it, man, because it was phenomenal. Really well done.
And then I don't know if you saw the things that were coming to Netflix in 2023, but they had a little bit of that Zack Snyder Rebel Moon footage, the untitled Star Wars movie that he was going to make at some point.
I'll watch it.
Give
Netflix,
that a watch.
Zack Snyder. Yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah. We'll cover it. I'm sure when it comes out. It's Zack Snyder. We'll definitely cover it. But I haven't really paid attention to much of the stuff coming out this year because I kind of like to be surprised, and I have a really bad memory. So if you tell me now, I'll probably forget tomorrow. So.
All right, well then Shazam, because I told you today, and Sarah told you yesterday. So Shazam.
That's why I watch stuff on Fridays, y'all. I watched almost everything that I had to watch today for the show today on Fridays because that way I can remember it. Yes, let's talk Shazam. So Sarah put it in our chat. I didn't watch it because if I miss something and it's like 8 or 9 texts back.
Well, it was
I
like
don't go back. Yeah.
We've gone too far.
Yeah,
because it was actually what James Gunn's tweet, I think it's what it was. Because I was like, he put this out. I'm like, well, or at least he attached it, So I'm like, but I'm looking forward to it. But I mean, I like Shazam anyways.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, I've seen a lot of it, where people are like, well, it's not really giving you a lot of the plot line. It's good. Don't give me none of the plot line right now. Hold something back. But it just, anything, if you have like put gods in the title in some form, you have my attention.
Right.
I mean, that's just me. But, it's, you got Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren. I'm like, okay, well, we got some, some pretty big names here, And I'm so excited to see Adam Brody again. I love him. I love him from the OC days. And of course, Zachary Levi. So I'm looking forward to see him reprising his role as Billy. So I'm excited. I'm super excited. And dragons, yeah.
Khaleesi, right?
I'm like, what else is in there that's just? It just looks like it's gonna be a fun movie, and there's probably gonna be some dark stuff and. Couple of the scenes, I'm like, I may cry. I don't know.
Emotional. It may.
I'm not gonna, discount that, but it just looks like it's gonna be fun. We're definitely gonna watch Shazam again because we've watched it multiple times. We haven't watched it recently, but the kids like it. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Shazam for me is like what do I want to compare to? Black Panther 2. I liked it. It was a good movie. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't like I'm not gonna go tell everybody you gotta go see this or I'm not too. Now this movie Shazam 2 looks way better than the first one. I'm not gonna lie, that trailer got me excited. It looks way better than the first one. I can't wait to see the action scenes, the storyline with the family. Did you notice in the trailer his suit is in different scenes almost changing black?
I don't think it's changing black. I think it's getting a little burnt.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
You go up against a dragon. I feel like you're gonna get some sort of level of fire
I think damage. What I got off of this was like there's gonna be higher stakes. So you actually got higher stakes in this film versus the first one where it was more like an introduction. I mean, yeah, you had a good, you had a baddie. I mean, you had a pretty, good, you could follow along. But I think this one right here, I just think we're going to have some higher stakes. I mean, I don't know if anybody, I get a feeling somebody's not going to make it out. That's just my gut, but.
This trailer made me want to see the movie. I didn't want to see the movie.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Okay.
Like, I liked the first one. It was, like Sarah said, kid friendly. I mean, it was definitely something that I felt like kids were more inclined to want to watch because there were kids in it. But then you had you just had like a plot that was kind of, you know, it was self-contained, you know, whereas you would call like an episode of a show like they refer to them as like bottle episodes where it's self-contained, you know, nothing else is necessary. Shazam had that. I do think that for some reason Zachary Levi looks different to me in this movie than he did in the last one. I'm not sure what it is that's different. His face just looks different for some reason.
Older.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
well, he looks like he's not as carefree.
That's it. This whole time,
he's older. I mean,
well, he doesn't look as carefree because in the very beginning, it's just like he's playing a kid in an adult body, and
right.
I think maybe by this point it's like, okay, now a lot of this it's
really
like sinking in. Yeah, exactly. So
there was too much. Here's what I hate, because when the second Ant-Man trailer came out, that was more than enough for me. I didn't want, like, I was done. Like, I didn't need that trailer. I was fine with the first one. That's all I needed. I could piece together a story, but I wanted to be surprised. And I got the second one and I watched it and I was like, dang it. I didn't need to watch that. Shazam, watched the first trailer. I'm like, I need more. Like, it seems so superficial. Like, it's just the Shazam 2. Like, you know, like there's like, I want to know what it's about. Give me a little something, the direction to go in to make me want to go see the movie. And then I got this trailer and I'm like, that's what I should have got the first time. And then I would have been perfectly fine and shut out the rest of it. But this trailer did make me want to go see it. It's a March 17th. I think it's St. Patrick's Day, if I'm correct. So it'd be a good one to go see. You're muted.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I am muted. I'll buy the tickets. Yeah, like I said, this movie looks good. I'm more excited for this than I am after I came out of the last Shazam movie. And I don't want to. It sounds like I'm talking shit. I like the last Shazam movie. It's just that
last one was good.
It felt different. My biggest question is, where do you go from here with Shazam? Because, like I said, are we going Snyderverse adjacent in the future, or are we totally revamping everything? Like, is this are they wrapping up Shazam with this story? Is Zachary Levi Shazam in the future? Is Shazam in DC's future?
Man, Shazam dies. Flash runs into a wall. He's done for. Aquaman drowns somehow, some way.
Batman's got guns, just taking everybody out.
Yeah. Stray bullet pops him in the mouth hole.
Batman didn't kill anybody.
You know, that's unguarded. So
definitely kills people. You know what's funny? Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about this when we talk about the Hunters, Ross. You're already through the first season, right?
Yeah.
I'm only 4 episodes in, so the first few episodes are kind of fresh in my mind. Do you remember that argument in the first episode? The DC, the comic book argument? Because I'll bring it up whenever we talk about it a little bit.
Not exactly, but they mention comic books quite a bit throughout the
they mention comic books a lot, and they're arguing about Batman killing, and he's like, Batman doesn't kill, and this guy names out like 7, and this is set back in what, like 78 or 79?
70s, yeah.
Yeah, it's before Empire comes out, because they don't know who Darth Vader is yet, because it's got to be after New Hope and before Empire, so that's the time frame. But he gives out like 7 examples of Batman killing, and I was like, yep, there you go. There's
Batman's
your proof. Always killed. Bam, there you go.
Greg's just back as a hype man, like, get him.
So
get him.
I loved it.
Told you.
I hate when people come to me with that argument. He's always killed. He does whatever he has to do. He is written as a character that takes justice into his own hands by any means necessary. Go look up the description of him. I'm telling you. Sorry, that was a squirrel.
Anything else on Shazam?
No, I'm good. It's going to be a fun movie.
There was
CGI
a
looks good.
trailer that came out for a Netflix show or movie, not quite sure. It's called We Have a Ghost. It's got David Harbour in it. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't watched it, go give it a look. David Harbour playing a ghost. I don't know why I watched it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch that just because it looks so funny. David Harbour from Stranger Things. The guy who played Red Guardian in Black Widow.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes.
The father character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. We're on the same page.
Okay.
And then the 65 trailer that I sent just earlier.
Jurassic Park on steroids, baby. I love it. You're going to throw time travel into Jurassic Park. Am I to understand by watching.
You're not
this trailer.
understanding anything.
Like,
Nothing.
from what I'm thinking, based on what this trailer has said. If you haven't seen this trailer for 65, it looks phenomenal. I love Adam Driver. It's going to be a great movie. Are they setting it up where Adam Driver and this child are the first people on Earth? Because the trailer says 65 million years ago, humans discovered Earth. And this is a time travel movie where they're crash landed on Earth 65 million years ago. Is that what they're trying to set up? That they are the first people on Earth?
You ready for the answer?
I think so.
Yes and no.
That doesn't make sense.
I know.
Time travel. Damn it.
Your
Okay.
favorite.
So explain it. Explain.
Here, the only thing that could happen. No, it's not the only thing. There are a few things that could happen. They could be coming from another world to Earth. They could be trying to leave Earth as some of the last survivors to go look for something else and get, basically pull around Robin and go through something on the way back. And on the way back, it's a black hole or whatever, and it shoots them right back where they were going, except black hole, time travel, space bending. And then there's the other scenario, which is they go to another world, which is very much like Earth in the phase that Earth was in with dinosaurs.
Okay.
So there's three scenarios for you.
I think the third one is the most plausible for me.
Yeah. But not knowing is the journey.
Yeah, that's true. Once again, dinosaurs, I like. Adam Driver, I like. I'm sold. I'll buy a ticket. I'll probably go see a movie. We're going to see this movie in theaters.
Adam Driver looks like his role looks very interesting in this movie.
Mm-hmm. He's got that voice. I don't know what it is. Like, you recognize it immediately. Like, Adam, I don't know, man. It's just, I loved him as Kylo Ren. I haven't seen him in anything else, to be truly honest with you. I know he did. There was another movie he did recently where he was supposed to be really good in that I haven't seen yet. But I do like him.
He's done a lot of dramas. He's gotten pretty good, accolades in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. But I'm excited for it, man. Sarah, what are your thoughts?
I don't even think. I think I've just kind of glossed over that a little bit. I think I've seen some stuff. Brian's probably told me a little bit about it, but that's about it.
It's not very well advertised.
It's not, and then I'm going to talk about that later too. But this was the UK trailer, and the first trailer told you just a little bit about the movie, but this one had a lot more action in it to help you understand a little bit more, like kind of what they're going through. Right. So if you watch the UK trailer, the one that I sent in the group text, and see what you feel about it. Definitely an action movie. Definitely in
it's sci-fi.
A thriller of type. Yes, sci-fi thriller. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be fun.
I mean, dinosaurs and Adam Driver, where can you go wrong?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't go wrong.
Apparently, with midriff covering pants is the only way you can go wrong. Because you need to see that Kylo Ren.
All right. Anyway, shake that off my mind. All right. So,
gotcha.
Are we done? Yeah. Are we done with trailers?
Did you guys check out the? What do you think about the Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out?
I haven't watched that trailer yet. I really have.
I know they had a new one that came out.
Yeah.
I'm not watching any more trailers. I don't want to know anything else more about it because I was sold off the first trailer, so the Comic-Con trailer.
Here's my thing: is like, I never played Dungeons and Dragons. However, as I'm getting older, I'm finding new hobbies, and I found that I really enjoy dice and card strategy games. Like, which I know Dungeons and Dragons is not that, but it's that type of thing. You
gotta have a good dungeon master in order to have a good.
Right. It kind of falls hand in hand. So I've been playing Dice Throne lately, and I've totally dove into that world. And I love Dice Throne. If you just check it out, just Google Dice Throne. If anybody who's out there, just check it out. It's a really fun game. You can buy 2 characters, you start. It's really awesome. But I've actually been looking at what's the website? It's like Den of Geeks, but for board games. And they rank all the board games that are out there because me and my wife just bought Crows and a whole bunch of other games. Which never played Crows. It's a really fun one too. But I think I'm about to buy this Star Wars game. It's like number 4 on the list, like the number 4 game on the list, and it's like $169. And it says it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to play. And I'm like, this sounds like my kind of game right here. You can have like 6 to 8 characters. You can have like 2 to 8 characters. Pick different sides. this sounds like my kind of game. I'll put 8 hours into it. I just started playing a game where you conquer areas. Like you pick an area, like I'm in North Carolina, and you just take over as much area as you can. It's probably going to play for a year, to be truly honest with you, because it's real time. If I have a troop in Charlotte and I want to take them to Augusta, it takes 6 hours to do it. So,
Dude, after
like,
1 hour,
I'm into long format games.
I'm ready
like
to flip a table.
Nah, see, I'm down with it, man. I love games like that. It's weird. In my older age, I'm starting to like.
I'm not gonna talk about Rebels. I'm not gonna say anything. And how long take you to watch Rebels?
Mm-hmm.
I watched Rebels
Because you spent 8 freaking years playing a card game.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into some stuff. What do we got? We got the menu. We have Bad Batch. We have.
I gotta talk Bad Batch, dude. We gotta.
Let's talk Bad Batch first. Yeah.
We gotta talk Bad Batch.
Okay.
Catch us up, Sarah.
Yes, because you didn't talk about last week.
Look, hey, I love the show. I was super excited for the second season. But what in the hell is going on?
Thank you. I was hoping so badly you were going to
mean,
come here and talk about how great it was. I was like, please don't tell me how great
but no,
it is.
I mean, it's some of the stuff. I'm like, okay, and I think it pretty much kind of revolves around Omega. Now, I get it. She's grown up. Omega. I get that she's grown up. I get that, but oh my God, how damn naive is this youngin'? It's just. I'm just like staring at it like, and then you've got Wrecker over there. Just is it the Wrecker and Omega show? I mean, what is going on here? Well, where in the hell's Hunter? Hunter's kind of like brooding in the back, going, "Y'all are stupid. I don't know what in the hell y'all are doing." And then you got in Echo. Where in the hell's he been? He's like just off doing his.
Silent.
I mean, what are y'all doing? Playing on the damn
there.
ship? I mean, what the hell? Oh. Yeah. Well, sorry, that's just my first reaction.
No, I'm kind of in the same boat with you, and we're going to dive into that. But what do you think about last week's episode, the pod racer, or wasn't pod racing, but it was pod racing?
Riot racing, man. It was
riot racing. What did you think about that one? That was complete.
Well,
filler,
first of all, what was the droid? Because
Ayo or something like that.
Yeah,
Ayo.
You know who voiced him, right?
Ben Schwartz, baby.
Yeah, that was the Sonic, and also. Oh. I don't know. Did you ever see Space Force? Because he was the PR guy that was such a turd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it.
Fuck Tony.
I'm like, I'm hearing this voice. I'm like, I know this voice. I know this voice, and I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh my God, that guy. And I'm like, you that's the epitome of this character. So like, when he got run over, second time, I was just still like, oh. Then I was like, you know what? I'm not really upset. I'm like, okay. And
You're
then
never gonna win the race.
telegraphed because you knew who was going to be the next pilot. Duh. So yeah, I mean, it was.
At least it wasn't Omega. I mean, like.
I was waiting for. Honestly, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for her to pipe up and be like, "Oh, I can do it." I'm just like, oh. Okay, all right. You can just do anything and everything, can't you? You're just freaking.
Well, look. Side note: Omega is literally the Last of Us. I mean, she is the last clone.
But she brings them to every single problem they have is directly because of her. 100%.
And
no
it just
question,
seems like Hunter is getting annoyed.
Have.
Is it just me, or does it seem like Hunter's getting annoyed? He's just like, what?
He's kind of being a little bitch about it, though. Yeah, he's being a little bitch about it.
He's like dad mode, like 100%.
All right, so we all agree last week was a filler episode with the Riot Racers. But let's talk about this week, because I kind of feel like this week was kind of a filler episode too. And I have a question: is that Fee character? Is that Wanda Sykes?
Yes.
Okay. It makes sense that she'd be working for Disney. So, okay. I get it.
I knew we weren't going to be able to go very long before you said something about it.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Anyway, man. It's not even her voicing it that bothers me. This character just bothers me. Like, I'm sitting here and I don't have my notes with me because I left them in the other room, but I remember a lot of stuff I wrote down about it. It's like throughout the whole episode, just these cocky comments and this and that. Well, you got me with you now. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But
the hell does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah. All the things they were saying. And like everything is about Omega and her getting this treasure. And you're like willing to sacrifice.
Don't get me started on the damn treasure. Oh my God.
Okay. They find the compass, right? In this episode. And she's when they finally figure out what the compass is for and they get to where they're going, she's like, every pirate knows about this. I'm like, bitch, you didn't know about it 10 minutes ago until you got here. Like, what are you talking about? Every pirate knows about this. And then she all of a sudden knows everything she needs to know to get where she got to do. I'm like, come on, man. Seriously?
I want you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
All right. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to reimagine this episode, okay?
Okay.
Everything that this The character did and said, take away Wanda Sykes' voice, get that woman's voice directly out of your head.
Okay.
Replace every single line with Billy D. Williams as Lando and tell me if it works.
I mean,
I want to say no. I want to say no, but something doesn't let me.
Tell me
You're
I'm
right. Like you might be right.
Oh, I know I'm right.
Yeah. No, I mean,
No, I'm serious because after this episode, that's exactly what I thought.
Point. Yeah,
it is very annoying. Besides the fact that she actually took the mountain brain heart thingy, beyond that part, I do think that you could replace every single thing that she said and did in this episode with Lando, especially the Lando that you've seen in Rebels. That version and that voice, that type of Lando, and I'm telling you, you right here have a female version of what they're trying to do with Lando, and it doesn't work because the character has no established being in the universe. Lando would have worked completely and flawlessly.
It's almost like they try to. It's almost like it's another version of Hondo.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
You know, because you threw Hondo in there, but at least Hondo had a little bit of a backstory, so you kind of knew where he came from. So you just put him in that.
They tried really hard with Hondo because they actually changed one letter in Lando's name for Hondo. So they tried really hard.
Yeah.
He was definitely a Lando.
But,
that's a good point. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
Can we talk? What in the ever-loving hell was that shit?
That was a Megazord. That was a platypus or a llama. I don't know whichever one you want to think about.
I was like, is this like? Because you guys see the movie? What was it? Oh God, now I can't. It was just on the tip of my tongue. Day the Earth Stands Still. Remember how that tall robot thing with the? I looked at Brian. I was like, what the hell? And that shit's like just sitting in a mountain. And you just have it. Let's just go ahead and just get. Who even knew about that? That shit was just crazy. I'm sorry. It was just so out there. Like you just.
The safety trigger for this sucker played the exact opposite role of what it should have. How about when you put the mountain heart thing in place, it becomes alive. Instead, the moment you take it out, it goes into defensive mode. Like, I don't quite understand that whole part.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me. And how long was this supposedly there?
And did it wipe out life on the planet? Because if so, then who was the last one to put the heart thing in place? I don't know. There's so many questions. Look, the filler episode still.
The one saving grace, I will say, for that droid, because you saw the droid get taken out, and they're like, "Oh, that was so bad." She's like, "Oh, it's fine. I downloaded his memory, so I can make a few more."
Yeah, it's a droid.
What the? Like,
and you know what? You know what else pisses me off? Is they were holding flashlights, and that's not tactical. You know they'd have those flashlights mounted somewhere. That way they had the hand free. How about that? Come on, Star Wars, get it together. Damn it.
We got to walk on the ceiling.
I actually wrote that down as a note. So
I mean, it was just. I mean, now I will say I did enjoy the treasure, hunting. I did enjoy that aspect of it because I mean, I just throw in a little bit of with the puzzles and that kind of stuff. That's fine, but. Whew, these two are just kind of, and I'm like, I'm hoping it's not setting the tone for the remainder of the season because, man, that's going to be tough. Just sitting there, just.
16 episodes. I imagine that I would definitely like 6 of them. So far, I've liked episode 3 a whole lot. Like episode 3 for me was really good.
Oh, that was the one with what's his name?
Cody was back. Yeah, Crosshair and Cody.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked the first 2. I thought it opened really strong. Third one was pretty good. It
was fun up until these last 2 because, like, these last 2, I'm like, what is it adding to it? I mean, really, what's it adding to it?
I think it shows a little bit of the disarray. Like they've been just so disconnected from the Empire and like from their like imperial people. They're just trying to figure out how to live life. I mean, they're just a bunch of clones out in the world trying to make their own way.
I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to understand is what is their goal? What's the end game or their mission? and they really
To
don't have one
survive.
right now. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess it's just to survive. So I
Well,
guess I
like
got to kind of
Sid
graft
said,
around that.
they're the hired hand. They're like the hired guns. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what she's kind of using them for. And I'm
Yeah.
just really curious to how far her character is going to evolve, because at the end of the racing one, you had the one guy that he was just giving off Thanos vibes. You know,
Do you know who
kids
voiced him?
who
Josh
it's,
Brolin.
Nope,
Damn it.
definitely not Josh Brolin.
no,
Big
but
shot
he
in the dark,
sounded
yeah.
familiar. Who
It
was
was Winston from the Ghostbusters, Ernie Hudson.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Because, like I said, I'll hear voices and I'm like, that sounds super familiar. Because in Real Perlman, that's Sid, right?
Yeah.
Ross,
So
do you
you have,
live
I
on
mean, you got some
IMDb?
great voices,
Oh man,
give or
but I
take.
paid. I like connecting things, man.
Yeah.
Ross's address is 123 IMDb Street.
Yeah.
Let me go check him out.
And I know I live like a couple doors down because
We friends. Best part of this episode, hands down, the music. I don't know if you've stopped to pause to actually listen to the silent moments, like when they're trying to go through the little treasure hunt gig or whatever.
I have not.
Extremely orchestral music, way overdone for an animated show, but fantastic. Very Star Wars-esque. So
Star Wars tends to do a good job with music. The score is always good with Star Wars. Like I'm yet to. You could play. How long do you think an album would be if you put all Star Wars like background music onto an album? It'd be
I can tell you, but I'm not
a
going to
few
pull it up.
disc set. I could play that in the background always. It could be the background of my life, and I'd be okay with it. I think.
One of my favorite parts
I
of
walked down the aisle to the throne room, so
Did you really?
I did.
That's awesome.
Look at
That's
this.
awesome.
Y'all didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Story.
That's awesome. Cool points.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna do the Jedi Steps. That sounds like a good one to sashay down to.
Oh, dude, I had it like the crescendos and everything. I had it like just right down, so it was like the big one. Yeah, I had it choreography. It was great. It was great.
Well, Ross, just so you know, generally the man doesn't tend to walk down the aisle. Now, you can do your wedding however you want to.
I'm gonna fucking strut like a
generally the man
motherfucker.
doesn't tend to walk down the aisle. He's usually there at the end waiting. So
Hey, it's yours. Do as hey.
yeah,
you
it's
do
yours
you.
though. It's your thing, man. Do you exactly? All right, are we done with Bad Batch? Another
right
filler
now, yes.
episode, 2 weeks
For
in a
right now,
row.
yes.
Hopefully, it'll pick back up. We'll see.
Oh my gosh.
We have what are we on? Episode 5. All right, so I think it
11
is
more or
episode 6, and then on February 8th we get 2 episodes, 7 and 8 together, and then we won't get 2
Okay.
more until the end.
okay.
Meaning we won't get like another double drop.
2-parter. Yeah. They're probably 2-parters. I imagine why they're drafting them like
Yeah,
that. So.
yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, we'll continue to watch it. Star Wars. Like I always give it a chance, and it's
I mean,
not
like
terrible.
I said, I enjoy it. I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoy the the Bad Batch. I mean, I actually finally got my pops. I have all my Bad Batch pops and the
I
little
was
Lego
gonna send
figures.
you. Yeah, I saw a whole bunch of all the new drops for the pops that are coming out, like in the first half of this year. I meant to send you that picture.
I'll
Because I
say that
even-
of what's that?
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice.
it's Omega.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I actually got her too. So
I'll say that of all the Star Wars animation, this one might be my least favorite. I wasn't thrilled with the first season. It has some really good points to it, but it didn't like blow me away. And the second season's had some really good points to it too, but it's just not. It's not like bringing it home for me. But
I think I want to
we
see
spent a lot.
more of. I think I want to see more, kind of like what episode 3 was, because it's with the Bad
Mhm.
Batch. I mean, they were. You've got clones that are kind of programmed to be to be all one, but yet they have their individual, traits. It's and not to bring it back to Star Trek, but it's kind of like Borg. You have the Borg. They're all of one mind, and that's kind of how I think of the clones, because that's how they were. Really, it's how they were. Why they were created. But it's interesting to see them coming out with their own personalities and stuff, and especially with the Bad Batch. They kind of like went the extra mile of being their own, individual selves. So that's kind of like what I would want to see a little bit more to dive into. And then just figure out what in the hell's up with Omega. I mean, because it's just Like, is she like this little one-off clone or whatnot? Was she like this other little side experiment? And they're just trying to raise her? Because I'm like, little girl, you have got to, at some point, we got to get past that little girl point. We just got to get past that.
Well,
I mean, you're
that's-
carrying this damn bow thing. I mean, let's
Yeah,
I want to like her so bad. Go
not a
ahead.
fan of that weapon. All right, here's the deal.
No,
I think
I
that
like that actually.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm sorry.
I like it. That's good.
This show is still really in its infancy. The first season was okay, and like Greg, you watched all of Rebels recently, so
It didn't get really good until the finale of the second season. You're right.
And when you start
Yeah.
talking about like a show finding its direction, Bad Batch has to find its direction. I'm not sure if they're going to give it the chance to find its direction. I would hope that they do, because they could easily find a way to, like disperse these characters into the depths of the rest of the Star Wars universe that we already know without making it super on the nose. So there are ways for them to do it. What I would like to see is that they find their direction and their footing, and they know where their endpoint is. Rebels did that. It took them a minute. The first season was to sell everyone on it. People watched it. The second season got real good. They gave them more tools and toys in the toy box to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was sold a lot of, we've been telling you to watch it forever because we wanted you to get to that point in season 4 where you're like, how did all this happen? And it, culminated in this type of a story, which now, years later, we're getting in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what Bad Batch could do with that, but I would like to see it.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
knowing
God,
that,
could you imagine seeing Bad Batch in live action?
yeah, knowing that Omega is the last clone, like the end all be all last one ever, is interesting.
Here's my thing though, is like, okay, she's the last clone. Like, honestly, what makes her that special though? Like, what is so significant about that? Like, it just seems like something they're clinging on to. Yeah, it just seems like there's nothing important about that. You're the last one they made. Okay,
Maybe, like I said, maybe she hadn't come into her own yet. Maybe she hadn't come into her importance yet. Maybe she hasn't figured out. Maybe it's kind of like an Laura Dannon type situation. There's like, she doesn't know what kind of expectation there is, but eventually maybe she gets a little bit more mature, then it happens. I don't know.
They're going to do that Disney thing where they give her gloves that come all the way up to here and stop. I don't know. There's something about Ray and Laura Dannon I don't understand.
No.
But I mean, you see what I'm saying, though. It's just like you're kind of growing up with no expectation or anything like that, and then once you get to a certain point, you're like, oh my God, the world's on my shoulders.
If Boba Fett and Omega don't meet, this whole entire show has lost its purpose. Like at some point, I know the show's about Bad Batch, but the whole point now of them is being these one-off people that were purposely tainted to become their own types of clones, which they were, the Clone Force 99, that's why they're all different. But if they don't take the first clone and the last clone and give them a chance to meet, we're all missing something.
So are you saying you're wanting Boba Fett to be like the kind of like the Darth Maul was to Rebels of this universe? That background character that everybody knows, big bad, that everybody knows?
I feel like if you could reach to season 4 Rebels style.
Well, there's a big shift between 2 and 3 in Rebels, because it like took like a totally.
Oh, yeah.
That's where that maturity factor came in.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Well, like I said, Star Wars, we're going to watch it. We got a lot more episodes to come. Hopefully it's going to get better. Let's see what happens with it. But let's go ahead and push forward. Real quick, let me and Ross, because I'm going to talk for maybe just a couple minutes about this Hunter show, because I've only watched 4 episodes. Ross has watched the first season. We're planning on covering the whole thing. I think next week Tony might join us to cover the first 2 seasons. And as far as I understand it, the first 2 seasons are the 2 seasons. There's no more after that. But we're going to try to watch that. Or I'm going to watch it by next week. But let's just real briefly talk about it. So anybody listening, if you haven't seen it, maybe you can give it a watch so you can come on, listen to the review. You might like that. But it's HBO Max series. No, Prime. Yeah, Prime series. Hunters, Al Pacino. It is a timepiece set in the late 70s. Like I said, it's between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. So it's somewhere between there because they do reveal here they don't know who Darth Vader is. So but they know they know of Darth Vader. They don't know who Darth Vader is. I love the comic book references in this. Right away, it caught me. The first scene's amazing, and it's just made me want to watch the show. It's kind of
There's Tony.
An espionage type thing. Hey, Jewish vigilantes. There you go. I like it. That's a good way to put it. Ross, you described it in our chat earlier, or to Sarah when she was asking about it the other day. How did you describe it? 2 shows you mixed together. I can't remember what it was. I have to go back and look at it.
I'll go back and look.
Yeah, you do that. I'm gonna look. This show, you go back and find it. This show came out like when Prime was starting to really ramp up on putting content out,
2020,
and
I think,
yeah. So like it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I watched the first like half of the first episode of season 2, and there is a time jump, and they completely recognize it. They talk about it quite a bit. What I don't like is that Prime doesn't do a fantastic job advertising what they're going to put on. They do The Boys. The Boys was everywhere. Rings of Power, everywhere. Those 2 are it. Next, that's not true. What's that, Miss Maisel or Magnificent? Whatever, the other show. Yeah, so
or something like that.
Those are like the 3 that I've seen that have been almost everywhere.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Like Hunters, I don't feel like really got a whole lot of traction right off the bat.
I never heard of it. Never heard of it. Tony said
it's been in my list.
Out. Yeah, Tony said you should check this out, and I was like, all right, we'll check it out. Ross, you described it as a mix between Jack Ryan and National Treasure. Yeah. And that's a fair. I haven't seen National Treasure yet, but that's feel like it's a fair assessment.
Even the movies. I mean, you can take that with the grain with the movies. The whole point is that they're putting puzzles together to try to figure stuff out. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Spoilers, even though the show is 2 years old. The show is, as Tony said, Jewish vigilantes. It is mainly the premise of after the war, World War II, Nazis had to go somewhere. And some of the biggest and brightest were actually brought into America and the Soviet. What they were trying to do was bring all of their knowledge and all of their crazy ways, more or less of the crazy and more of the knowledge, to places like the USA and the USSR. The reason behind that is because they were smart. Look what they were able to accomplish in a period of 20/40 years.
Mm-hmm.
That whole culmination of World War II was like a long time starting. You now have people of the Jewish faith that had gone through all of that stuff. They don't forget. Like you can't forget all that crap that happened to you, which rightfully so, because they do a very good job in this show pointing all of that out. Like without actually, that's the best part. They do it without actually showing you the worst of the worst of the worst. People get shot in the head. Yes. People get shot and like you see them starving, skinny, everything else you would imagine about a Holocaust camp. Minus all the
emaciated, basically.
Yeah. Minus like all the gray tones and everything. But I mean, man, it's like the show does a good job pacing itself. I think that's the best part about it. I think that's why I've been hooked on it. And, all I can say is, thanks for Tony bringing it up for me to get a chance to go back and actually watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited to watch season 2. I'm not sure. I mean, hopefully I can finish it by next week, but the first season was really good without giving too much away right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm only halfway through the first season, or actually I'm about to start episode 5. I think there's 11 episodes in the first season, so I'm almost halfway through the first season. Yes. But Tony's right. Like the barbecue scene in the beginning, like the first 10 minutes, I watched it. I was like, okay, I'm going to like this show. Like immediately it catches me with the scene. I was like, okay, I want to know more about this. That sounds awesome. It goes into some really cool details. Like I said, we're going to cover this show next week. I don't want to dive too far into it. Tony says season 2 is produced by Jordan Peele.
It is.
Okay.
His name is plastered on it.
Cool. Okay. That's interesting. But we're gonna give it a watch. I'm gonna I will have the next 2 seasons, the first 2 seasons done.
And they're pretty short episodes, aren't they?
Well, the first 2 are like 38 minutes. After that, they're all about 50 minutes.
They don't feel long.
Between 48 and 52. It doesn't feel long. It really doesn't. No. Because of course there's like a 3.5 minute intro, before you really gotta watch anything. And there's 2 or 3 minutes of credits at the end. So really, it's like a 45-minute show. So
That's why I say the pacing is like really what's up with this. I mean, the pacing really does it for me watching this show. It's enough to where it doesn't feel like you're. It doesn't have the intensity of Jack Ryan. It has the hunt. It has the need to find the next clue, like National Treasure and Jack Ryan does, respectively.
Mhm.
It keeps you there trying to figure out what they're piecing together. And I mean, like it's all so good that you're not lost in the sauce trying to figure out what's going on.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
You're not left wondering. I mean, there are cliffhangers, but they're not like major cliffhangers to where you're like, what's going to happen next? You have an idea where the direction's going, and then you reach certain points where we're like, ha, we got you. It's not that.
Right. Well, and Tony says here, he says pay attention to the end of each episode. They feel like they have a certain style. Not sure how to describe it. I've only 4 episodes in, so I'll go ahead and say this before I do the review of it, because I think this is going to come back into play. In the first 2 episodes, I've already seen 2 references to cows. There was one where he is talking about a bovine exclamation. He's like, what's a 4-letter word for a bovine exclamation? I was like, moo. Obviously, it's got to be it, right? And then later on the next episode, somebody references something about a moo or a cow making a sound. I was like, okay, I've heard 2 cow references here. Let's see what happens with the moo later. So I don't know where it's going to go. I could be totally wrong, but we're going to see. And real quick, Cody wants to say what's up, everybody. He said he had to take a rain check because Friday Free for All was crazy. Yeah, I was on there for a couple hours. It was crazy. There were a lot of people. There were like people in line to get on when I got off. So I got off.
What did I call it? The Sixth Reich.
Yeah, that's right. To talk about the Sixth Reich. But he wants to come on and talk about Last of Us. So we're going to talk about it tonight, but he can definitely hop on anytime he wants to talk about that. Tony says, what is he talk? This is what he's talking about. What? This is what he is talking about? I don't understand.
Maybe the pacing.
Okay. And then Panther Pickle watching DS9 Trials and Tribulations. Tribulations episode. Sarah got that one. I haven't seen that yet.
Have you watched any of DS9?
Nope.
I think wasn't that the episode where they kind of like went back because they were actually, it was kind of like a retro episode. If that's the one I'm thinking about. Anything with Tribbles is hilarious. Sorry.
And Tony does agree. It's the pacing. So, like I said, we're not going to get too far into it. Sarah hasn't seen it yet, but so I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it. But we are going to cover or try to cover we're going to cover the first 2 seasons hopefully by next week. Let's put it that way. That'll be what we do. So we're definitely covering the.
Get Tony on.
Check it out.
Tony to come on and talk about it.
Oh yeah. And by the way, Tony recommended an audiobook to me the other day, and I gotta bring it up. Tony, he's in the chat room right now. What was the name of that book? And I want to tell everybody about it. It's free on Spotify. It's if you like vampires and post-apocalyptic stuff, it's a good audio drama for you. And I've gotten to the point where I love audio dramas. I can play a television show and just not even watch it because I listen to so many audio dramas I can picture it in my mind now. It's great. But this is a audio drama. It's 9 episodes, I think, and they're between 20 to 40 minutes an episode. So Impact Summer is the name of it. So it's about a comet that hits the Earth, and the Earth's taken over by zombies. Or not zombies, vampires. Excuse me.
Do you know how old it is? Impact
I do
Winter.
not.
Actually, okay, then I think I know what you're talking about.
Hang on, my dog's chewing on my rug.
I was gonna say, are you gonna pull up? You just said it was an audio drama. You can't pull up an audio drama.
I heard chewing something. I was like, what is she chewing up over there?
Movie magic.
Or Impact Winter, not Impact Summer. Okay, so that makes sense. I was like, something didn't sound right about that. But it's a really good series. Check it out. It's free on Spotify. It's a Audible, not original. So
they advertise the living piss out of that. I do remember seeing it.
Yeah. So okay, let's jump into the next show then. I guess. What do we got left? We got Last of Us and the menu.
Oh, you want to talk the menu too?
What do you want to talk about first? Let's talk about the menu first. Knock that one out. Sarah, this is a one that I would have never watched, and not that I didn't, it was bad or anything. It's just I would have never even thought about it. I didn't even know about until you said something about it. And then it's almost immediately after you told me to watch it, Ashley told me her friends at work were telling her to watch it, which is really crazy. So it must have been, it's not a new movie there, right? It's been out for a few months, correct?
Yeah, it came out what, end of last year? Because I
Okay.
remember it was I wanted to see it in the theater because it was still in the theater in the end of December, but just didn't have an opportunity to it because I think it just came. What was it on HBO? I think
Yep.
it just came out. What? Not the beginning of January, but kind of like mid-January. So I don't think it's really been out that long. But
I'm not
I
sure.
loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I loved it. I mean, it's got Ray Fiennes in it, so I mean, that's just always going to be interesting to have him in
I
it.
felt
So.
like if I were on Twitter, I felt like you and I were about to have a Twitter war that I wasn't even like ready for. I'm like, all I'm saying is that it wouldn't have happened like that with me.
Right.
But that's the whole point. This is not normal people. So the reactions that you would have, you're like, oh hell no. It's like I would have taken that all out. I mean, it was just like, no, I would have. But these people, it just shows like the level of the elitism, and you're like, really, people, the world. These are people where like everything revolves around them, and it just blows your mind because when you seriously put them in a situation like this, like you said, it's kind of like a fight or flight situation where your life is literally threatened. You've been told, okay, shit's about to get real. It's gonna get real, and you're just sitting there like, it's like lambs to slaughter. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
No. It's a good movie. This is an art movie. This is a movie where you're supposed to look at meaning and everything else, like everything and not to not be so literal. Because I'm with you, Ross. When I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I'm out right there. There's absolutely no way you're keeping me
You two
in
would have
this
like already been
room
gone.
without killing me right now. There's no way it's happening.
I would have been killing people.
Yeah.
I'm not a murderer at heart.
Yeah.
Look, I don't like people, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to go killing people left and right. I would have killed every single one of them in this movie.
Yeah.
Just to survive, because
Or at
it
least
gives you
like
that vibe.
escape. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why are you going to sit there and take this? I'm like, what is wrong with you? But like I said, it's and I guess we'll go like full spoiler. I'm gonna go ahead and say that because when you got those three guys sitting there and they're like, well, do you know who we are? Now I'm gonna tell you, I think one of my favorite characters was that one lady, and I cannot remember her name, the Asian lady. She was kind of like the one that was kind of like the hostess kind of deal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's just like basically like, I don't care who you are. Here, it don't matter who you are. Do you know
what's your name
I know
again?
who you are. It's like, I know who you are. Yeah. And your point is, I'm just like, oh, at that point, I was like, these people are just, that's it.
Yep.
I mean, it's, their protection, so to speak, that shielding just got like completely obliterated right then and there. But it was just, I don't know. It's like one of those movies where I'm just like, you people, you're 100% getting what you deserve because y'all are that damn stupid.
Yeah. Well, this is a food movie, and I'm a foodie. Like, I love food competition shows. I love Food Network. I love shows on like all that stuff. I went to culinary school, but I went to culinary school not to learn how to do all the crap not the crap. I don't want to say crap. It's art. All the stuff that he was doing in this. I went to culinary school to learn how to make that cheeseburger he made at the end. Because that cheeseburger at the end, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's heaven in your mouth right there. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure the other stuff was great, but that right there will leave you more satisfied than anything else you'll ever eat.
And that just furthers how the lunacy of it. You have the one critic, and she's sitting there thinking, oh well, he contacted me directly. It's like I pretty much put him on the map. I'm like, lady, you created a monster, is what you did. I mean, you just created this thought because, like I said, once you start putting two and two together and you realize, where the chef where he came from, and you're thinking, wow, dude, you really took a 180 on that one and went like a completely different direction from where you started. So yeah, it was.
Well, if I'm to understand it correctly, there's two main leads. It's the girl who gets away, and the chef, and then there's Beast Boy, or not Beast Boy, Young Beast. I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy who plays Young Beast in X-Men. Am I to understand that the reason why she got away was for a couple reasons? One, because of her cleverness to be able to realize that him being critiqued was the only thing that would really stop him, that would really hurt him. And two, she's a prostitute, right?
Escort.
Escort.
Yes.
She's an escort, and she was hired to come on this.
Well,
So
she
was
wasn't
not a
supposed
person.
to be there.
Exactly. She was not a person who was being punished for being. So that was part of the reason why she. Okay, that's how
That's
I
why I
was trying
tore
to
the
understand it,
chef's
and I was
nerves
like,
up so bad. He was like, "Who are you? Why are you here?" She's like,
right.
"The hell does it matter? It's a freaking restaurant, isn't it?" So it's just like she didn't play into that.
Awkward. It was so awkward. Like I'm just like, what
Okay,
do
you
do
let
with
a
this?
dude follow me into the bathroom. I'm like, hold on a second, buddy. I don't care if
Mhm.
I'm trying to smoke out a window or not. No. This is me time.
We don't
No.
shake in this bathroom.
Are either of y'all going to eat a s'more for the next 5 years? Because I'm not.
Look, all I'm going to say is, don't not watch this movie.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Don't
not.
give a
It's
shit.
not the best movie in the world, but it's a good movie. It's a good watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch a good movie about like a chef, go watch Chef. I love Chef. Jon Favreau, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
That's a feel-good movie.
You want to watch a good
This-
show? What's the show with the boy from Shameless? Bear, something.
Oh, the bear.
The Bear. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Uh-huh.
That's a really
Yeah.
good show.
Well,
I don't know.
The menu was a few minutes of me trying to understand things, and then me trying to say something about it. And Sarah's like, "You don't understand it." I'm like, "I understand. Hold on." Oh, no, I'm just playing.
It's one of those movies that you're watching and like it takes a quick turn and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then literally a minute later you realize, okay, I know what's going on. What the hell am I watching? Like,
why is it
and
going
you're
on?
what just happened? I did
how
not
is this
expect this.
happening? Why? It's like once you figure out the why, and then it's like the how, and then it's like it's nuts. It's just absolutely nuts. I mean,
When she said that
It'll
his
make you think.
emulsion was broken, I was like, if they don't say that his heart's broken too, I'm going to lose it. And they didn't say that his heart was broken. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can keep watching this movie.
And how can you have a deconstructed bread plate without the freaking bread? I'm like, no, I'm out. I mean,
Swish the
some
yeast
of those
around in your mouth.
presentations were pretty creative though. I looked at that and I was like, wow, that's pretty creative. Like I kind of like that.
well, I mean, and that's the thing about it, because if you think about these high-end restaurants, it's some of the things, it's, you watch some of these chefs and the things they come up with, like, like the emulsions and all this, that, and you're thinking, what?
Mhm.
Whatever happened to food? I'm serving people food. I'm not serving.
Nope.
This is not food.
Mhm.
I mean, I understand a lot of it is an experience, because this movie, it was an experience, 100%. Now
That's
it
all
might
about.
have been off the rails, but it was an experience. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Bitches be fancy. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And it's just and at the level where it took like the, what was it, the one sous chef, and then one of the other characters, because especially like you said with the dude with the foodie, and I'm like, because that was his whole thing. He's like, I want to experience this. I'm just, because I'll catch myself in some of these higher end restaurants. You're trying to figure it out, trying to figure out the flavors and see how everything. Now, a lot of it, I'm really not impressed. I mean, hey, I grew up on Southern cooking, so I mean, I gotta have some flavor.
Right.
we gotta have a little bit of,
Give me some country fried steak, some onions.
we gotta have a little
potatoes, that'd be
soul. We
good.
gotta have a little
Yeah.
something behind it.
Mhm.
So it's, and plus it's, a lot of, you eat with the eyes, not just, the flavor. So it's, and this is like, after I saw a few things, I'm like, hell no, I'm not about to eat this. Until the chef's like, eat. And you're like, okay, this is great. This is fantastic.
I'm telling you, that burger at the end was perfect.
Everybody's
It looked so good. I looked at Ashley and I was like, I gotta go get a burger. I'll be right back. I gotta get a burger. It looks so good. And then she's eating at the end. You're like, oh
and
my
it was
gosh,
like a smash burger
so
with the onions.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the smash burger with the onions that are just right. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I went into this movie not knowing anything about it. So the surprises in this movie were real surprises for me. I'd never seen a preview, never saw a synopsis, knew nothing about this movie except Sarah said, watch this movie. Okay, cool. Watch this movie. So
well, I saw the
when I went in,
trailers
it was a total
times.
surprise. Yeah.
I mean, even my kids wanted to watch it. Yeah, my kids watched it. Sorry. Bad mom. My bad. I mean, you know, my
there's not.
kid-
Yeah, okay. There's a couple things.
well, there's some scenes I'm just like, don't
No,
watch
your kids
that.
are at
That's
the
kinda-
age where they need to see bad things to know the difference between good and bad,
I
where they
mean,
can comprehend it.
boy, he loved Bullet Train. That's another one too. That's another good movie too.
That's the last one I've seen in theaters that wasn't a comic book movie or a fantasy movie.
So Tony says people told him he would like the menu because I'm annoying people try to over upsell poor people
Upscale.
food, upscale poor people food. It's like 24-hour gourmet taco or check out these refried chitlins. Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, like I said, I've seen some amazing things with food, and you can do some really amazing things with food. And like there is a difference sometimes. Like I made fresh pasta for my wife and the girls sometime, and like pasta's great.
Yeah.
You can buy dry pasta anytime. You can make great spaghetti, great whatever. But if you never had fresh pasta, it's a completely different thing. It really is. Like it's a completely different experience. It tastes different. It feels different.
It
It's
takes
nuts.
like 15 minutes.
It doesn't take long
Yeah,
at all. Exactly.
yeah.
It's very,
super
very
easy.
simple to make.
Mhm.
But it's the process of making it. It's not like opening a box and throwing it in a pot of boiling water. So, but there are little things like that. But as far as it goes in this movie to that degree, no, I'm
Mhm.
not down for that. I'll take that burger at the end any day of the week. Burger's my favorite food. I would eat a hamburger every day for the rest of my life if I could. But I'll probably die.
Well,
in
the thing
15
is,
years.
it's like the whole premise, anyways, of this restaurant is like you're taking this boat to this island, and all I can think of is like Glass Onion too, because I'm like they took a boat out to an island, and that got crazy too. So I'm like, I'm already thinking this is not going to bode well at all. So
But look like they're
but
going to the
yeah,
bayou, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, where are you going? Like, at some point, you get a question, like, okay, you're going to take me to an island. Cool. But I'm not thinking like gourmet food in like the bayou. Don't get me wrong. Fantastic food in the bayou.
oh yeah,
Totally up there. But if you're going to put me on a boat and you're going to send me somewhere and you're going to give me the literally like the creme de la creme, top of the top thing of the thing, like number one on every magazine type stuff that you have to go and you can't get a ticket or a seat to. I'm imagining like White Sand Blue Water. I'm imagining something absolutely freaking crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they send them to a place that's like the bayou, and I'm like, okay, like I may be able to get on board. But then they get there, and it's like, well, this is where we smoke our meat. And I'm like, where does the meat come from? Are you bringing your cows and goats in? Like, are you like what are you bringing in here? Like I've had really off the wall like ostrich and like all sorts of random things before, like to eat wise, like just random things that have come in. Where are you getting it from? Where is this place? What are we talking about?
You ever
And
eat
then
some
you
Rocky
get-
Mountain oysters?
Yeah,
Oh,
you get
no.
like you
No,
get
no.
all seasons in
Mm-mm.
this place.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Sarah knows what I'm talking about.
Mm-mm.
I have.
Mm.
I have. When I was, like I said, I went to culinary school. They had. I'm sorry I cut you off, Ross. But
No.
when I went to culinary school, they had what was called a testicle festival,
Oh, see.
and it was just a festival of fried testicles from different animals. So, and I've
You know,
been
some
to
things in this world that I'd be perfectly fine just not knowing about.
delicacy. No, I'll never do it again. So,
No, I think,
You want to get nuts?
Yeah,
Let's get
seriously.
nuts.
I
seriously,
think the craziest thing I have is probably sweetbread.
sweetbreads are good.
But,
Yeah,
but I had that. Tony knew what I'm talking about. That Starlight Cafe. So I mean, it was good. They prepared it where it's like just don't think about what it is. Just take it for what it is.
right. That's like raw oysters. I thought about it the first time I tried a raw oyster, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna like this." But if you ever had a fresh raw oyster, holy shit, it's good. It's so good. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But,
that'd be one to kind of. I still need to put some heat to
telling
those
you.
though.
Just don't chew. Just
Just
swallow.
right in here. Just let it
That's right.
travel.
Just let it slide down your throat.
Okay, this talking about a 180.
Yeah, I had to write that time down.
Take a turn.
Say that.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Huh.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ross. But you started talking about testicles, or I started talking about testicles.
You
And
start talking about
I had
nuts.
to keep going. So yeah,
I mean, no, that's really it. Look, there's not a whole lot about the menu. It's a real self-contained story. Like I said, watch
It
it.
has a couple little twists in it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's interesting. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. What would you like? The other type movie you would kind of compare it to? I mean, it's just like I don't
To
know
be
what I really
honest,
compare it to,
it had kind of like Glass Onion type vibes to it.
but not
Did
as
you watch
ludicrous.
Glass Onion?
I watched 3/4 of Glass Onion. But what I mean is like seclusion on an island, a group of people you're focusing on the entire movie. It's not like in the real world, like it's separated and everything. So Panther Pickle says he doesn't eat things he doesn't know what it is. I bet you eat hot dogs. Ooh.
Don't watch how it's made.
Because
You don't wanna
everybody
know.
loves hot dogs. That's right, lips and
Yeah,
butts
there's
and all
like
that
I said,
good
there's
stuff.
just some things that you just out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind.
No, Tony,
Just
you
go
got
with
it
the flavor.
confused. At the testicle festival, you don't let it slide down your throat. I get what he's saying there. You got to savor that and chew it up. The raw oysters you let slide down your throat. But yeah, Glass
See,
Onion
even
was
when I'm
funny.
here, it still takes another turn. So it doesn't matter if I'm here or not.
Actually, it didn't take this turn when you were here. I don't know.
No,
Weird.
no. I
I'm
think it's
blaming you.
because you're here.
I'm blaming you. Glass Onion was fun. Yes, it
Bring
was.
fun.
Do we have anything else about the menu?
I don't think so, man.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
Let's get to the last thing. Let's go and talk about The Last of Us. Sarah, we didn't get your thoughts on the first episode overall. I know you don't like shows like this, so I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about it. But I'm kind of right there with you. I don't like horror. I didn't like zombies. I've never liked that kind of stuff my whole life. Like Blade was the only real vampire stuff I ever watched, and even that was kind of pushing it for me.
Well,
Then
I
I
don't know. I
watched.
like vampire stuff. It's just the whole zombie. And I think it's
Okay.
like the whole. I don't like Walking Dead. I just that was never or any. I just think zombies. Period. Because I mean, I think that as Thriller is about as zombie-esque as I want to get. So that's pretty much as far as I go.
I hear. Well, for me, it was I didn't like zombies or anything, and then I Am Legend turned me on to zombies, and I was like, okay, I can deal with this. And then in the last like 2 years, Ashley and I finally watched Walking Dead, and I was like, okay, I can deal with zombies.
Yeah,
I can't deal with
that.
stuff like Slither and those supernatural, just evil movies. Like I don't like horror. Zombies are like borderline horror for me.
So I can do vampires. I just can't do this.
So with that being
like
said,
Underworld.
what
I love
do you
Underworld.
think? Yeah. With that being said, what do you think about this so far? Like, are you enjoying it so far?
It was kind of one of those things where Ryan was gonna watch it, so he watched it, and then he turned it on in the living room and he started watching it again. And of course, I'm playing on my phone, and I just happened to start watching it. And of course, like I kind of told you guys in the chat, it's just I had to get over. I was like, this is Joel. This is not Den. So when you hear that voice, you hear Pedro Pascal's voice. I'm just because he's so, just his character is just so to the point and just so like whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I got to get past this. But I mean, the opening of it, I mean, it pulled me in because it was kind of one of those stories where you're like, what's happening? What's going on? Especially from the very first scene, we have those scientists, sitting there talking about that. And you're just like, what? Because I knew it wasn't like a true zombie type thing. I knew about like the fungus and, from going into that. But and the whole thing with me is just like, how did it start? Where did it originate from? How does it affect people? But that's what's pulling me in. It's not really the fact of I was excited to watch it begin with, but and then Brian, and I think after the first episode, I looked at Brian. I was like, "Thanks. Now I want to watch this. Something I wasn't banking on." So, yeah. So we'll probably watch it Sunday night as it comes out because he's like, "I've got to see it as soon as it comes out, so I don't get spoiled like with TikTok or something like that."
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm liking it. I mean, I don't know that much about the game itself. It's probably one of the games that Brian's not played, so he knows of it but hasn't played it. But I'm just taking it as just a totally different, just as as a show unto itself. And it's pretty damn interesting the way everything's kind of being introduced, and how they're kind of talking about the whole thing as it is. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy. I mean, I'm interested. Like I said, it's not something I thought I was going to be interested in, but I'm down.
I've never played the game either. Actually, I've heard of it, but never knew anything about it. I'm actually pulling up the pictures here of the game, like what the characters look like in the game and what they casted, and just I think they nailed it.
Oh, they
Like
did
the
a
actors
phenomenal job.
alone, the actors are phenomenal. But as far as the look goes, I think they nailed it.
The I was trying to get someone to watch to start watching the first episode period because they hadn't watched it yet, and uh, they started watching it. They were texting me about the opening scene in the first episode where you have the guy who played Rachel Weisz's brother in The Mummy,
Mm-hmm.
right
Yeah.
off the bat,
Uh-huh.
and
Good pull.
his spiel, like his
Oh, you
little
didn't know
thing.
that?
Oh, I knew he was there, but that's a long time ago. He's played a lot more since then. That's a good.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I
yes.
told Brian right there.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what's his face? That's
Yeah.
Jonathan.
But his little bit, like about talking about how fungus works and being very precise, like with the temperature and like the simple fact that how global warming has affected everything or like will come to affect everything
Mhm.
is so. It takes such a different spin on the standard zombie show that I
Mhm.
love. And I knew just enough about this because, like I said last week, there were a lot of people that tried to get me to play this game, but like I hadn't owned a PlayStation after PS2, and so I never had a chance to play it. But I definitely read up about it, and I was interested because I like to keep up with like the top of the top games. I like to know what the stories are.
You like to
I
be hip.
want,
Yeah, cool.
yeah, I'm all about being hip. I want to know what people are playing because the stories are actually really good. If there's
Mhm.
something I've really enjoyed about video games the years have gone on is that original storytelling in video games is phenomenal. Like it's next
Yeah.
level. It really is the same as what you would do with movies or TV shows. So reading about this and knowing only the little bit that I knew about it, going into listening to the like 2 to 4 years of them talking about bringing this show to the actual screen has been crazy because just like you said, when they showed you the casting was dead on.
Mhm.
It's not the same people, but we have one person who's the same in the video game and the actual show,
Who's
and
that?
that is is it the Marlene character?
Oh, okay.
And
didn't know that.
so
Actually, you
she's
probably
the-
said that last week, and I forgot.
yeah, she's the one. But I mean, like, you take what they do with the zombie aspect of it, and you understand how they change it. And like the second episode really helped to explain that with the whole cordyceps background and what the actual like fungal infection really truly is. If you know anything about fungus, anytime you've ever watched any sort of like Planet Earth or any of those, National Geographic shows, they always tell you that like the fungal realm is damn near all encompassing under the Earth's surface.
Mm-hmm.
And it has come to light in this show, just like it has probably in the video game, which I have not experienced, but I can tell you about the show. They have done it justice.
Mm-hmm.
That scene in the second episode, man.
Yeah. Well, let's go and start breaking down the second episode. Yeah, we're here to review this one. I've had a friend at work that's been asking me every day what I've thought about it because he loves it so much, and I love it too. But every day I'm like, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna watch it tonight, and I always end up watching on Friday. That way, it's fresh in my mind. And I don't know, man. There's just something about waiting and until that moment. It's like I don't know. Anyway, this episode was not disappointing by any means. We get to learn about new zombies, and I watched I'm not familiar with the game, but I watched the recreation afterwards, or the special they had afterwards, and it talks about how much time and detail they put into making sure that these characters were accurate to the game because they want to respect that, and how they knew that could be a make or break for this, kind of like Halo. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of Halo characters or fans were looking for Halo to be spot on, exactly what they wanted with Halo. Otherwise, they weren't going to like it. But I think with this show so far, and once again, I haven't played the game, What it sounds like, they're paying a very, very good homage to the game, and they're doing a really good job putting this thing together. I want to know what y'all think about these new zombies. So we have two different types of zombies here. We have the first ones we saw with the little viney things coming out of their mouth. Now we have these new ones with these butt heads. So
If there ain't anything clicking now, no, that's it.
clicking's never good. Clicking is scary.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I've already I told Brian even like the first time. I was like, if I'm ever in a situation like this, I'd die. I would die. I mean, I give them credit for trying to, we're fighting through and all that. I would die. I would die.
Tony,
Same thing with the
I would
menu.
just die.
I would kill them immediately.
right?
Yes, I would die. I would just absolutely die. But yeah, and oh my God, those things were just freaking terrifying.
Mm. Tony says he thinks
Well, you know what
Uncharted
they
was.
kind of remind me of, with
What?
the little tendrils and all that kind of stuff, especially with the way that I guess the fungi kind of, because now it's like you can like touch something and they know where you are. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
it kind of reminds you of, don't you?
What?
Little Pandora vibes.
In the new Avatar movie? Because I haven't seen that.
Well,
Or is it-
To be
like
fair,
both of them.
that is kind of the premise that he was going off of. Making
But it's
that,
cool to have that interlacing, that interwoven type thing. So I mean, it's kind of cool that way.
Well, it's cool
but
that
when
it's real. That's the crazy thing. Like that is
well, that's
actually
what's so
real.
scary about it too. To me, that's what's so scary about it, because if you really think about this and think about what we just went through with the pandemic, and it's
She
like,
didn't kiss it. Ugh.
do what?
We're gonna talk about it. Don't worry.
No,
What were you saying?
not yet.
Everything we got from the
Yeah.
pandemic era.
Anyway, I can't think about
I
that.
put the image in your head, didn't I? All I do was
In the-
text a few
In
words.
the video game, they literally age, and so like there's a 20-year time gap here, and that 20-year time gap. Whereas you see the neighbor, I can't remember her name, be infected right off the bat. And like I said last week, it
Yeah.
was the premise was floated completely about the flower and everything else. So you get to see that come full circle in the second episode. Second episode, you get right off the bat where they're discussing what's going on in Indonesia with I remember this name. Hold on. Ibu Ratna, I think, was the person, the professor's name that they came in and grabbed.
Yeah.
They grabbed the person. They want to sit there and have this conversation. Like, hey, look, here's what's going on. We got a virus going on. She's inspecting the body after she already says that there's no way this, not virus, but fungal infection can actually spread to humans. And she pulls that crap out of a dead body's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And she freaks out.
Mm-hmm.
She freaks out.
She freaks out so much she tells them they should bomb the
Bomb
place.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bomb and
Just
kill
bomb it.
everybody. Her and her family
Fire.
included.
And
Kill
then
everybody.
you come
I
to
was like,
find
wow.
out that that's what they did in Boston. And
That's
then
what they
you
did in
had
a lot of cities, apparently.
you had
but
Tess
it
who
only
said-
worked well in some
exactly.
cities. Yeah.
Tess said that it worked here in Boston, but like it didn't work everywhere. Rightfully so. I mean, you're not going to be able to kill everybody. Well, I mean, that's pretty mean. You're not going to be able to just get rid of the infection everywhere.
Well, what was so scary too was because even the professor, it was kind of like, when you're talking to somebody, okay, you got these people that came out of this plant. Well, who got them? And then that's when they're like,
The 14 that got away.
then that's when she's
Yeah.
like, we got to bomb it.
Yep.
We got to bomb it.
Mm-hmm.
Exterminate
Yeah,
everything.
She knew right away the threat. Like I said, when you're going to tell them to bomb everything, including yourself and your family, and she's like, I just want to spend time with my family. Yeah. Now, it's funny because I wonder how many flashbacks we're going to get, because obviously they did end up doing the bombing, but I wonder they didn't do it then. They could have done it then, or it wouldn't have spread, right? Because we were looking at the origin of this, correct? In the flashback,
we're 2 for 2 when it comes to flashbacks right off the bat. The first one was knowledge. The second one is like the beginning of the spread in Indonesia. So if that was like ground zero, then it's logical to say that the next opening scene for the third episode could be like the continued spread across places, not just Indonesia. if that's the case, we could keep going. I would imagine they're not going to do every single episode like that, but
Right.
maybe the first few they could get away with that. I don't know, man. Like, you definitely get. You brought it up last week. God, I always remember it, and right now I'm blanking out. What's the Will Smith movie?
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. You always get I Am Legend vibes. You always get that, like, the Earth has decided to take back over what humans wanted to build.
Mm-hmm.
Where everything's regrowing
reboot.
over concrete. It's replenishing the
Reclaiming.
Earth. Right? You get the birds that fly out of the dead buildings. You get all these things. The Last of Us is doing a fantastic job showing that.
Mm-hmm.
I was not taken out of it for 1 minute. I thought that first I watched The Bad Batch, which had a bunch of random pieces of rock falling at the most opportune times.
Blaster bolts. Yeah.
And then you get
Yeah.
The Last of Us to where, like, you get things that are falling at the same time. The Last of Us feels damn near 100% real. Like, if you could take all of the things that they actually introduced in this show, you can run with them. You can truly build a possible scenario with this, and that's what I love, the realism of this.
Mm-hmm.
When you start talking about the clickers and everything else, like the different types of zombie-esque characters that they introduce, when you bring in the first ones that are bitten and they're all crazy, what's with I don't know what's with the sunlight affected thing. Did you guys pick up on, like, as the sun was fading across?
I did, and when that happened, they only mentioned that they're all connected.
Right.
I think that was the only purpose of showing that, but I don't know what the sunlight was about. So I don't know if they're sensitive to sunlight or what.
If you
You're
notice,
right. I did see that. Yeah.
There's rarely direct sunlight showing through. There's a whole bunch of clouds. And
That's
so,
true.
like, direct sunlight seems to be a problem, which I hope that comes into play later. I imagine that it will.
Yeah.
Also with Nick Offerman, once again, because I'm a big Nick Offerman fan.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get the older ones, and as the fungal infection continues to grow, when they hit the museum, that's when you see what you artfully dubbed the butt heads.
The butt heads. That's right.
Whatever you want to call them. The mushroom faces, the whatever they are. You definitely get the man, they give me that the labyrinth, Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay.
Where the thing has like the eyes and sticks his hands up.
Okay.
It gives me that vibe.
Yeah.
But really, they're just continually further evolved fungal infected humans.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is that they're actually played by fans.
Yeah. Oh, that's what Walking Dead did a lot. They had a lot of fans do a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think it's cool the
Especially
fact they put in there
later
that
I said, especially later on when everyone realized they were making a show.
Yeah. I think it was really cool. They showed the zombies couldn't see, but they could hear.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird to watch a scene where, like, one's walking right in front of you, or like you're in a room with them and you're not worried about it as long as you're not making noise, type deal. I was like,
But then you have a teenager breathing hardcore.
I know. Come on, man.
Hey,
like,
kid.
It's like Omega. Like, seriously, come on.
Chill out. You're going to ruin it for the rest of us.
He said mushroom people are main antagonists of the 1963 Japanese horror film Matango. Ooh, I don't know. Never seen it
again.
Yeah.
So suave.
I did like that in this show. There's a real big, like, issue with Joel and Ellie, I guess her name, believing that something's going on with this, and I understand that at the point in time they're in. It's been 20 years. You've heard rumors of people doing this. You've been in this fight. I get not believing it. I do like that they showed her actually get bitten, where he could see it, and then he saw that she didn't turn. So it's like, okay, this is not going to be an issue the rest of the time. He knows now. I'm glad they got that out of the way. That takes that angst and everything out of the way, and I like that. And I should go back and probably try to keep track of how many times she drops an F-bomb, because she is a teenager through and through, 100%. My daughters are exactly the age below her and above her in this movie or in the show. So, like, that is spot on what a teenage girl that's pissed off would be like. I agree 100%. Great acting. And I loved her anyway because she was in Game of Thrones. She did a phenomenal job. Which, if she's 14 here, and she was in Game of Thrones 6-7 years ago, how old was she when she played that role?
Well, she's not 14 in the show. She's
She's
only
not?
14 in the show. Let me put it that way. She's
Wait.
only 14 in the show. I don't
How
know
old
what
do
her
you think
actual
she
age
is?
is.
She can't be that much older than that, though. She's got to
Sarah,
be like 16,
my neighbor,
maybe?
hook me up.
I got you.
There you go. I would imagine that she was at the age of 12 to 14 when she actually did the, yeah, 12, 14. Yeah, that sounds about right. The Game
Really?
of Thrones biz. Yeah.
So
Look,
you're
she
saying
doesn't.
she's like
She was born
18?
03.
So she's 20 years old. Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Well, just because she's playing a young teenager don't mean she has to be
I just
one.
didn't picture her as a
How many
20-year-old
things
for
have you
that. I thought she was
watched
like 16,
for
17. to be
I
honest.
know,
years?
right?
Yeah. She's doing a great job, though.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You know, she talks about going to school and she makes that drop twice about, you know, like it wasn't a very good school. But why would they not? I'm a firm believer if you live in a post-apocalyptic era that they would teach you absolute survival training. Absolute from the bottom up. They would teach you how to survive.
Maybe
ahead.
you and I would teach people how to survive. The government would not. Do you know why? Because if you don't know how to survive, then you
Control.
rely on the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
point.
think about it. This is the first time she's ever been outside, or she can remember being outside. So she doesn't even remember that. Remember, she was going through the water and she's like, I don't know how to swim. And they're like, seriously? She's like, sorry, we don't have pools in the QZ. Like, my bad.
She got bitten by curiosity.
Yeah.
The whole reason she got bit was because she decided to go to the mall of all freaking places.
But
The
think about it.
mall.
If you
Girl,
teach
man,
those
what you
kids
supposed to do?
survival skills, then all of them are going to be doing that. You know, which I'm not saying that you should do that, but that is a form of control by the government when they make you rely on them. You know, that's
No, you're
them in
right.
power. So, but yeah, I mean, this show is on point. Like I said, I think it broke records for the growth in viewing from week 1 to week 2. So word of mouth of this show has really taken off. I'm yet to meet a person who doesn't like it, and honestly, I don't know a lot of people who haven't seen it. Like, this is one that I think that everybody is watching.
Let's
See,
cover
I would have
the-
been one. If my other half hadn't wanted to watch this, I doubt I would be watching this.
Really? Okay. That's
Mhm.
right. You don't. Yeah, I get that.
Let's cover the nasty part.
There's a couple nasty parts. Which one?
Why would Tess just let it enter her like that?
Ugh.
Well, because
Ugh.
I think it was just she knew that she was going down that path anyways, and I guess it was just kind of an inevitable type thing of like just get it over with, get it over with.
But she didn't know that
That's
lighter
the way
was going
I
to light.
interpret it.
She didn't. And here's the thing. If you know you're going to be dead, if you know you're dying, you're willing to sacrifice yourself. You set all this up, and that lighter won't light, and they can't see you. Fuck that. I'm walking over to one of those grenades. I'm pulling the pin,
Yeah.
and I'm tossing it. You know, like fuck this whole let him make out with me and try to light this lighter and maybe it not work. I mean, you knew it was going to because it's it's going to work out. But like in real life, there's tons of grenades on the ground. I'm grabbing one of those, pulling the pin, and dropping it.
Number
You know?
one, the lighter doesn't have to light. It sparks.
Yeah, it sparks exactly.
That's
You just
all
put it
that
in
you
flame
need.
and spark it. That's all you got to do. I thought that too. Yeah.
Number two.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah, you're right. Number two, there's plenty of like Pelican cases there that are probably full of all sorts of stuff. She picked one up of grenades and threw it on the ground. Cool. Like, good for you for throwing grenades on the ground. I guarantee you, by the length of some of those Pelican cases, there's a lot more than grenades in some of that stuff. Like, I know a rocket launcher case when I've seen it. I've seen a few of them. Number three, if you're gonna go with gas, I'd go a little bit crazier. Like, I'm not sure that I would put it all over the floor.
You don't even need to if the gas is in the room.
Yeah.
it's going to explode. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about it. As long as it's in the room, it's going to.
You have a lighter, you have a barrel, go for broke. Anyway, any of that, I just don't understand the whole point. Because here's the deal: at the very end, when she like let that thing quote unquote kiss her, I was just like, that's too much. Like that's a line that we've crossed. I'm not sure we can go back from. And here's why I say that, because it was totally unpurposeful to go that far. I don't not saying that it was a problem. I'm just saying it was unpurposeful. What was gained by it? And I understand the whole like mycelial network of fungal things. Star Trek did this too. Like, it's not new. It's been all over the place. We know how like fungal stuff works. You don't need to kiss the freaking fungus in order to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're fine just killing it.
I agree, but I think the whole point of that was I don't think she did that like willingly. Remember, they gave you the chart at the beginning of the show where it shows you where you get bit and how long it takes you to affect. Remember, the neck is 4 to 6 minutes.
No,
immediately after they got
torso's 2 to 8 hours, I think is what it was.
Right, but she got bit in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
She got bit right up here. It was like 4 to 6 minutes. Remember, that was immediately after they got it from the attack. They were in that room. So she only had a few minutes, and that was why she told him, shut up, I've only got a little bit of time. I think that moment was supposed to represent the second she was turning, and she couldn't resist because he was so close, and because she was so close to turning, she couldn't resist that, but she was fighting as hard as she could, trying to light the lighter, and she happened on the last strike to light it before she dropped it. I think that was what that was supposed to represent, so she didn't willingly kiss him. It was more of a, I'm losing control, this is what's happening type thing. But I could be wrong. But
I want to get on board with it, but
I still like.
I'm not a zombie romantic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's still really weird. Yeah, but it was funny too because right before this happens, like right before they revealed she was bit, I was looking at it and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with her? Like, why is she like all of a sudden she turns into a complete asshole?"
Oh.
For like 3 or 4 minutes of this thing,
off screen too long.
for no reason, just a complete asshole. And I was like, I bet she doesn't make it through this series. And I swear, 30 seconds later, she was like, "You're infected." And I was like, well, look at that. I'm getting good at this. Either that or it's so obvious that everybody should have known it. But I was like, she's not gonna make it through this series, and of course she dies. So, I didn't know where it was going in the future. Like, I haven't played the game, so I'm sure if you played the game, you know the game's probably only Joel and old girl, Ellie or Victoria, whatever. So I guess if you knew that, it wasn't a surprise. But I didn't expect it going in, and then I had that moment where I was like, she may not make it, and then she died almost immediately later. So
it just makes me wonder, like the whole gameplay too. Like, oh my god, I can't even think about the bosses in this game, because right now it's like you've seen kind of like the different degrees. I was like, I can't even think about like the big bad because you think about games, you've always got the little ones you fight up to, and then you have like the big baddie. I'm just like, oh my god, them clicker things. Oh Jesus, I couldn't. No, that's nightmare fuel and all that shit. No.
Well, Tony had mentioned in the chat. He said earlier that the Uncharted movie was good, and I know that games adapted to movies and television shows historically are not that great. However, I feel like recently it's gotten better. I liked Halo. Uncharted was good. The Last of Us is pretty good. I'd be interested to see if they do like I don't know why I can't remember the name that I'm sitting here of the game I'm trying to describe. The one with Aloy in it. I don't know why I can't remember it, but I'll remember later.
Everyone's waiting for Red Dead.
Red Dead would be a good game to do a rendition of. We have the technology now to do that. When we were younger and you had Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter and all that stuff, it was
we
like
got Super Mario's too.
We have the stories now. We grew up with Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat,
where they were just games and not stories.
Now we have, yeah,
that makes sense. But I love what they're doing this show. This is one I keep telling everybody that I've seen that hasn't watched it yet. I'm like, this is going to be the next big thing that everybody gathers around their TV at 9:00 on Sundays for.
I guarantee you this is going to run for a minimum of 5 seasons.
And my girls are old enough to watch it. And actually, after I watched the episode, I'm not really sure. Well, there's a little bit of nudity, but they're both girls. So
the girl's been watching it with us.
Yeah. I know my youngest daughter watched the first episode. Not my youngest, my oldest watched the first episode. She wants to watch the second one with me. So
you just have to
need
be
to
like,
start watching
sorry,
with
it's
her.
just that's biology. It is
She's
because I
16.
mean
Yeah.
it's not in
Yeah.
I don't
What-
think it's like in an inappropriate, but it's just
It's the if you didn't know, now you know.
yeah.
This is what another naked person looks like.
I mean,
yeah.
we're having conversations about that. So I mean, it's you know.
Well, is there anything else y'all want to bring up about this show, about these episodes? I mean, the first one was the setup. The second one was the escape from Boston. So now we have our 2 episode setup of the show where they're on a mission to get her to the West Coast. They didn't say where. They said somewhere west to a Firefly headquarters where they
Because you're
can
trying to figure out what's
trying to
the
issue
deal with
cure.
her. You know what makes her special.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, because that's when you go into it. For number one, my thing was like, where did it originate from? How does it spread? What's the deal with her? Because obviously she can help everybody. But then by that time you figure out is there going to be anybody left?
And she's younger than the virus itself, or not virus, but the infection itself. So
She doesn't know
cordyceps.
life without it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I it's only 9 episodes. We're 2 down.
Oh, it's getting another season. Are you kidding me? It's definitely getting another season.
I know.
No.
Oh no! Like I said, I'm pretty sure that they planned this to be an on-off thing for the next foreseeable future. That's why I say I think it's got a solid 5 seasons underneath it. I think that it has, because you can stretch the story out time-wise to make it work perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see a reason that you would need to end it early by any means. I mean, it's not going to get old. If you keep it going the right way, you can totally avoid the Walking Dead problems. This has plenty of time and space underneath it to keep going.
One last thing I wanted to comment on, so the last thing I got in my arsenal here is something you commented on earlier, Ross, about the gaming community being who this caters to, and I have to disagree with you. I think this show, while trying to give honor to the gaming community, is aiming towards a bigger community in the zombie community, which is a huge community. And I think that's the one that they need to win over. If you lose the people who played the game, that like the game, I think you're going to be okay. If you lose general audience and zombie fans, you're done. Like either one of those. Like you have to have 2 of those 3. And I think the 2 of those 3 that win is the zombie fans and the general audience.
Yeah, but my point that I was trying to make was more along the lines of you have a built-in audience right off the bat.
Right.
And that built-in audience is a lot bigger than what it would have been 20 years ago. Internet gaming and being able to game period has grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry.
He's getting sleepy. That's why he's like that.
Where are we going? Why are you still up?
I know, right?
And I think that built-in community is the real reason why we are having this resurgence of video game stuff happening. The fact that it has hit HBO, not the big screen, not anything else, but an HBO series shows you the time that we're living in. I tried to mention that briefly with Halo. I mentioned it when we discussed Uncharted, but I told you that we were coming on the cusp of what was going to be the video game next generation thing.
It might take over the comic book era, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It might be the next big thing.
Comic books they don't have a shelf life, but they have a problem where they have to reinvent themselves every so often, so many generations, right? Because you can only tell so many stories before you start to overlap the next one. Video games are going to have the same problem. However, I think some video games lend themselves to being long-term stories. This is a prime example. What was it? Did Walking Dead end on season 9?
It has the newest season that came out. I can't, not Fear the Walking Dead, but the other one they just recently dropped that I haven't watched yet.
Yeah.
So it didn't end on season. I think that may be season 9, actually, the newest one that just came out. But I think it
Yeah.
does end on this newest one. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. And like Fear of Walking Dead is ending on its next season too. So what I'm trying to say is that these stories can continue to go on because you can surpass the story that's actually been told.
Mhm.
What you are doing is you're giving yourself roots and enough to actually grow on.
Mhm.
So long story short, who knows what's going to happen? Yes, they could surpass video games, or excuse me, they could surpass like comic book stories. Who knows?
Right.
I just think that it's the next landmark in the road to hit. We've already done comic book movies, and we're going to continue to do comic book movies because we haven't even gotten all the stories told the best by the best.
Mhm.
But video games are on the next generation. We're going to get Halo Season 2. I'm interested for it. I loved what they did with Halo.
Yeah.
I'm
watch it.
truly amazed how much I enjoyed Halo as someone who only played Halo for like 5 minutes in my life. So completely happy with it.
Agreed. Well, I got nothing else. You got anything you want to bring up about Last of Us? We didn't dive super deep into a lot of details, but this episode was basically about them escaping from Boston.
Mhm.
They met some zombies. They fought some zombies. We touched on the rest of the details. Well, let's wrap it up then. We're 2 hours and 20 minutes in. We covered everything there. Let's get out of here. Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at My Lady Kitten. I'm there. Put up a couple of little tweets today. Yes, my big girl Austin, she just turned 6 today. So and this other one back here, you see, he was 2 back on the 18th. So
No.
I've got January babies.
There you go. It's funny. My male dog shares her birthday with my wife, and my female dog shares her birthday with me. So or it may not be exact, but it's that week, so we're just
Yeah.
saying it's that day. Makes it easier.
Oh, give or take.
Ross, where can they find you, buddy?
Nowhere. Right here.
Nowhere. That's right. That's check out the Guardians of the Galaxy. They have the address for there if you need to check it out.
They own it.
Nowhere. That's right. They own it. That's correct. And you can find me at the Bad Daddy 52 on Twitter. It's my personal handle. Check out at GCS Podcast 1's the show handle. We're here live every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, covering all the best shows, books, movies, television, all that good stuff. And we chase a lot of squirrels. Audio drops Mondays, Tuesdays, depending on how busy I am, or just when I get around to it on any podcast catcher of your choice. Give us a like, give us a share, tell a friend, subscribe, all that good stuff. Come into the chat room and we'll post your stuff and actually communicate with you. Next week, we're going to be covering more of the Last of Us. I think we're going to do the full 2 seasons of Hunters if we can. And then I'm sure there's going to be a Bad Batch. There's going to be more stuff that comes out every week. There's something. So there's always plenty of stuff to cover. And that's why we do it. But I guess until next week, y'all, just keep pounding.
Bye, guys.
There you go.
Later.